Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Matt.
Yeah, bangarang.
I was not expecting that. Carter's here too.
Yeah, because it's coming home.
Shut up.
Coming home.
Well, speaking of coming home, Matt's back. Matt wasn't here last week.
Yeah.
He was at convention. He was all on the front lines talking to creators and stuff.
Yeah, making a fool of myself in front of Jason Aaron.
What did you do?
Well, just like it became like the Chris Farley show, where I was like, hey, like, yeah, okay. And then he told me to calm down, and it was great.
Did you stroke
Although
his
me
beard?
and Mario got into a fight over football, and Jason Aaron didn't realize we knew each other, so we thought we were just two random dudes fighting over football. And he goes, oh, you guys know each other. I thought there was about to be a fight at the table. So that was pretty great. But yeah, no, Jason Aaron, just as great as, you know, you would imagine he would be.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so he signed my God of Thunder 1 in the way that Connor said he would.
Yeah.
Where he draws a speech bubble.
Puts your name in it.
So, yeah, it was pretty great. But
is it as good as the Tom King art? The Tom King signature art sketch?
Different. Jason Aaron's also a lot more soft-spoken than his appearance would have you believe. Yeah. Like, he kind of resembles Lobo, right? Like, he looks kind of like this biker dude.
Yeah.
And you expect this gritty, gruff voice. And no, he's like got this soft Midwestern.
He doesn't have as strong an accent as I hoped he would.
No. Although he sounded like a toned down Kyle Kinane. I don't know if you're familiar with that stand-up. Yeah, so. But yeah. Also met Paul Miotti and Amanda Connor, and they were super nice. Almost didn't, though, because I got into line, and there was a sign that said signatures for $5. And then a friend who'd already went through the line was like, oh, no, that's just for, first 2 books, she'll sign for free. But it's because of all the Harley, everything that goes on with Harley.
People are bringing like 50 things to sign, so...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fact that I brought up Terra #1 from 2009 and then Starfire #1, she was very appreciative. And I talked to Paul Miotti for like 3-4 minutes just about Starfire. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, we talk about comics and conventions apparently, meeting creators. But yeah, talk about DC Comics specifically. And coming up on this week's show, we have Batman #50. The internet is talking about that one. Oh, we're going to have fun. Then we have Catwoman #1, of course, spinning right out of that. We have Man of Steel #6. We have Justice League #3. We have Green Lanterns 50, Nightwing 46, Green Arrow 42, and Deathstroke 33. And that rounds out the show. So that's what's coming up today. And of course, any news or ramblings that we have before we get to any of that, as we typically do. The banter portion of the show begins now. Yeah. Your regularly scheduled banter.
Yeah. Regular scheduled banter.
Let's be honest, all the banter is just it's coming home and Pete getting angry.
That's right.
In that case, we'll skip the banter section. We'll move straight into news and some such. Actually, I have nothing really. What I do want to complain about though is tech issues. This week has been plagued with tech issues. In fact, our patrons might be wondering, where's June's monthly episode? Where is that? Well, we started recording it on, what was that, Monday now? Yeah, it was Monday.
Still in June, I'm pretty sure of that.
It was Monday, and we recorded, and as we always do, we split the recordings up, so it's not by much, but we stop and start like every 30 minutes, give or take. Partly because something like this might happen. But so we did the first half hour of the show, then we came back and we were in the second half hour, and we were about 25 minutes into the second half, and my computer blue screened, and we lost that 25 minutes. So we've been trying to schedule like the rest of the recording into a full schedule back in for the rest of the week. So that's so we're getting to that this weekend. Basically,
it was not the only
Monday.
tech issue that day.
No, it wasn't. That issue, because it was okay, right? Well, we can't have the exact same conversation we just had again. We need to leave it a little bit of time so that we come back a little bit more fresh. So we recorded something else that night, 121 Extra, which we do for Patreon, and we recorded for about 90 minutes. It was a full feature-length episode. It was a great conversation on aspect ratios. I'll enjoy doing it again, but I couldn't do it right away. But
Connor, I'm sorry.
But it recorded. It wasn't until we went to edit, and everything seemed fine. Went to the edit, and none of Connor's audio recorded. in fixing the previous issues, it changed all the audio defaults without anyone noticing, and we wasted. I mean, 90 minutes were just down the toilet.
So it kind of was a perfect lecture for Pete because he just got talking about aspect ratios, and if he would have put it up, it would just sound like he's talking to himself.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was tempted just to send Carl the footage and say, "Here, double your side of it. Just sit and watch it." And
screw that. You think I can remember what I rambled on about?
Well, to be fair, I can't either. So yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But Monday night was basically like a giant waste of time. We were supposed to record 2 things. We recorded most of those 2 things, and almost all of it was unusable. It was like a dagger in the side.
Yeah,
it was upsetting.
It was pretty hellish.
Then I got a mailed new tech issue on like Thursday, Wednesday as well, with feedback coming because I had a controller plugged into another USB port, which was completely separate and unrelated, but it was just on top of what already happened Monday. I was just like, I'm sick of tech issues. I'm sick of it.
When you say tech issues, I automatically go to Detective Comics. So I have to retrain my brain back to what actual tech issues means.
No, I get you. But we're in actual context of comics, yeah. Tech issues just means issues of detective, but not so much right now. No. So, technology can be it's a wonderful thing, but every so often it will anger you in such a way. So, that's all I want to get off my chest.
Yeah, no, it's I've been off since Wednesday, and I forgot what day it was when I woke up this morning. So that's great.
Oh, I slept in. I slept in about 20 minutes before we were supposed to record, and I still had a book to read, and I had to shower. So
I've been working a lot of overtime, so I'm pretty tired. Which annoyingly meant I missed the football game, which is annoying.
You're not tangent into that. Shut up, the pair of you. We're moving on to news and speculation. Shut up. No, I will keep talking over you. No, with no football talk on this show. I will talk over you completely. I will think of things to keep saying. I will keep thinking of things to saying. I am not going to stop. I will start talking about what I had for breakfast if I have to. I'll keep this going forever.
It's coming home, mate.
Moving on to news and things. Now, like I say, got the show to ready in a bit of a rush this week, but there wasn't any real news. We have something I want to talk about from DC Nation because they had a Heroes in Crisis thing in there. Before we get to that, though, I think we'll just quickly mention a few Twitter things that we can all remember, just from teases.
Okay.
Scott Snyder said that there's something he said there's something to be announced soon that he's really excited about, and he's definitely emphasised the soon. And obviously Comic-Con's like right around the corner. That's like next weekend.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks or 1 week?
Well, it starts the 18th, so it's
okay.
2.
All right, 2 weeks then. So that's right around the corner. So I would expect that then. If not for the solicits right before then, because me and Carl were talking about this last week, how the solicits announcements comes like right before Comic-Con. So like there might be some stuff before for the solicits, and then some bigger stuff at Comic-Con for like the month after that.
Yeah, because solicits will be due the 16th, so it is literally just right before.
Yeah. So. Hey, unless they just want to hold the solicits for a bit. I mean, I don't know if they can do that.
It wouldn't be the first time they've done that.
It would be the first time. I mean, obviously the reason not to do it is because there's a reason for solicits coming out when they do it. It's because they need shops to start ordering the books. So
yeah,
it's really.
But if it's a big enough reason, then they feel like it's worth it.
So there was that. Mikel Mairghread, who'd done a couple of fill-in issues recently, he was tweeting that he's working on something big for DC. That'll be announced soon, so that's not a little tease.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it him that did that issue of Tech that me and Matt didn't really like?
Are you talking about the Magic-y one with
Deacon Blackfire?
Yeah, Deacon Blackfire.
No, I don't think so. No, I think he did the. Oh, maybe he did actually. No, I think that was him. It was that, and then he did like an issue of Nightwing, I think. Like a few months ago.
I think I quite liked his Nightwing one, or thought it was all right.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that Tech issue. So.
No, we'll see what it is.
Up to see.
We could see what he comes up with. I mean, who knows what he's on? If he's on more of a full-time project now, I mean, we'll see what it is. So there was that. But I think Palmalotti was teasing something on Twitter as well.
Oh really?
I think he was. I don't know. Like I say, I've got this in front of me, but I saw like 4 or 5 like creators like tweet like, "Oh, I'm working on something at DC. It's a thing."
Yeah, I'd expect just a slew of announcements soon.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I actually should mention that DC Nation, there was just a little headline in there I think on the front cover, mentioning Green Lantern DC secret announcement for 2018, which, given that we've been hearing rumours of this Grant Morrison thing coming up with Liam Sharp, that would line up with that. And if it's not that, then there's something coming. Whatever's replacing Green Lantern Corps, there's something coming.
Which interestingly, Green Lanterns this week kind of feels like it's replacing that slot already.
It did.
Yeah. More on that when we get to it. But yeah. It's funny actually, because I'm wondering if this other book that's going to launch is probably Hal Jordan on his own, because he was the one kind of missing from that issue. And I wonder if Hal's going to get a centric book whilst Green Lanterns kind of becomes the book for everyone else.
Which kind of makes sense, right? Because they're just called Green Lanterns.
No, it's true. I do miss Jess and Simon getting the spotlight in the way they did before.
Well, to be fair, they have had the spotlight for 2 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
More than any other Earth Lanterns individually.
Of the last 2 years, sure.
Yeah. In the last 2 years, they've had the focus, and then the others have kind of shared a book.
Yeah, but I mean, Hal's had like his own book for years and years, and as has Kyle.
Well, yeah, because Hal's not primary lantern. Like that was his gig.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, but we can move on from that now. We've passed that era.
As long as it's not Kyle, sure.
I'll take Jess as the primary lantern. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Jess is the best one, so it's okay. Yeah. Kyle's number 2, admittedly, but Jess is the best one, so that's okay.
You're right. Kyle's number 2.
It's juvenile, but I agree with him.
Guys, an A number 2.
No.
Kyle is the number 2. You're right, he's pissed.
Anyways.
I agree, he's pissed. Anyway, so we had that. But the other big thing to talk about from this DC Nation that came out this week, which I'll admit, other than obviously the first Zero issue that had all the stories in it, I've not actually looked at this book yet. This free magazine. Well, it's free on Comixology. I think you have to pay like.
No, it's free.
Is it free in the shop as well?
My shop, yeah. I just pick it up because it's free. Also, I miss reading Wizard, and this feels like it scratches that itch. So. Yeah.
So there's a Heroes in Crisis like 2-page spread thing here, with a bunch of characters, and they're in like a sort of like hexagon formation, and there's like just kind of some captions just to like tease us about the story. So here's what the 3 captions say: which 3 of these characters will be accused of murder? And then the second one is which 2 of these characters will be murdered? And then one of them says which one of these characters will be revealed as a murderer. And the characters, well, there's a good bunch of them here, but we got Boosted Goal, we got Wonder Woman, we got Catwoman, we got Bob Harass, of all people.
Easy money's on he's the murderer.
That's a funny joke. I like to put that in. That's a sense of humour.
Yeah.
Nightwing, Deathstroke, Kyle Rayner, Tim Drake, I guess. I was like, for a second I paused, I was like, who's that? I was like, oh, it's Red Robin.
It does say their names.
Well, I know. That's why I said that. Oh, that's who it is. It's Red Robin because it says that. What I'm saying is, it says Kyle Rayner. It doesn't say Green Lantern under Kyle Rayner.
Okay.
True.
I'd expect it to say Tim Drake. That's what I'm getting at.
To be fair, everyone else says all their superhero names.
Bob Harris doesn't.
Lex Luthor doesn't.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor doesn't have one.
Yeah, he does. He's Lex Man.
And he's the baddest man on the planet.
I thought that was Mike Tyson.
No, they're both bald and they're both dangerous, so,
Well, one's dangerous with fists, the other one is dangerous with everything else.
Exactly.
So, great
Green Arrow.
Arsenal, Cyborg, Poison Ivy, Superman, Damage is there. There's a random new one. You got Lex, you got Constantine, you got Wally West, Harley Quinn, The Atom, Riddler, Mr. Terrific, and Beast Boy to round it out. So I don't know if we have any guesses as to who's.
Damage is being murdered because no one cares.
Easy.
Okay,
is he there?
That's fair.
He's the red shirt. Like that's it.
That's fair. But there's 2 red shirts though. That's the thing. There's 2 getting killed. So
I only hopes it's Cyborg.
I know. I'm sorry, Tim, but you've had your time. You had your chance.
No, this is the thing. It's not Tim because we just did that. So, he was just out of play for long enough that we're not going to do that with him.
I wasn't being serious. I was just trying to.
No, but just as a genuine reason as to why it's not Tim.
Yeah.
Arsenal's not doing much. He could probably go for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility.
I'm thinking it would be a villain too. So like you have Damage and I can't see them taking out Riddler or Lex though.
Or Harley, for that matter.
Right.
Harley sells too much.
Yeah.
Ivy could probably go. As much as I don't
But
want to.
I think she's one of the accused. I think it's her and Booster, because we know Booster's a significant, name.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the
her,
story.
Booster, and
I was about to dispute there. There's like, oh, you're right. It says accused of murder. Not that they actually
Yeah.
murdered anyone, just accused.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I also thought Booster might be one of the ones that were dying, and then because timey-wimey, like this version of Booster can go, and this is the one that King emotionally scarred and whatnot through that story with Batman, and then we can get traditional Booster with.
I think it's more likely that one could be the murderer. That he's
that too.
so broken.
Does he murder
Yeah.
the better version of himself? Is that the twist here, that there's two Boosters? One's a killer, one's a victim.
I mean, theoretically, he could be all three, right? Like, he could be accused, he could be the murderer, and he could be murdered. So that's quite a twist.
That is a twist. Yeah.
Also,
we can knock out certain characters. Like, I'm pretty sure Lex and Superman aren't gonna be too wrapped up in this. Like, they'll be there or they'll be mentioned, but I don't see them fitting in any of the categories. But
it's there for a joke, obviously, but I do want to see the wonderful meta story that happens that ends up with Bob Harass being either a victim or a killer.
yeah,
Because that would
That would be
I mean, there's
amazing.
precedent with Morrison injecting himself in Animal Man. I think Alan Moore's done that too, right? Where he showed up in comics.
Probably. Look, all I'm saying is, if I'm picking who I want the ones to be dead,
Why do you have to
it's
come?
down
Why do you have to come at this from the most negative possible angle? Here's
Well,
who
no,
I
if
want to be dead.
Well, two of them are dead. I might as well go. Well, I hope it's these ones.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's very glass half empty. You should be. I don't know. Here's who I hope survives. Here's the positive side
Well,
of
hang
it.
on. If I'm going who I hope survives, there's like 15, and then 2 are dead. I'm playing the easy route here.
Fine.
Well, all I'm saying is, it's got to be between Arsenal, Cyborg,
Damage.
Damage, and Carl Rayner. Those are the ones.
Oh, not Kyle. No, screw you. Kyle living. Kyle's living. No. I will agree with the first 3. I'll add on the Atom. I don't really care if he goes that much.
Yeah,
Okay, we got
because
another one
Choi,
anyway.
Choi's really been taking the part, and I feel bad for Palmer, but he hasn't been around forever. Like, Identity Crisis has been kind of it
Also,
with him.
I'll get some heat for this, but honestly, Constantine can go as well. I don't really mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm fine with that as long as they give him a Vertigo book after.
Yeah,
Just
that's
do a Vertigo version.
kill him in the DC universe, and then so I feel like Swamp Thing's really the only one that fits that can jump back and forth between Vertigo.
Oh yeah, I
and,
love Swampy. Keep Swampy around.
and Swampy fits with the superhero mold in DC, which Constantine I don't feel does. He's too much of that gray,
Yeah, no. I don't think he works to carry a book in the DC universe.
No.
I think he works as a player in the universe, though.
Well, and we know that he's not going to be in Justice League Dark. He's not featured in the New 52 run. So, but yeah, Constantine I wouldn't mind seeing. Even Riddler. I think Riddler a shocking death because what we've seen with him in King's run. But yeah. So, as for who's the actual murderer, though.
I think the cop out would be just being Deathstroke because, well, that's
Yeah.
not very exciting, is it?
No, Arsenal would be cool if he snaps again.
I feel like the twist here, though, is probably going to be that it's not really one of these characters. Like one of them's being controlled, or one of them's being something or other.
I hope not, because if you're doing a story that's tackling PTSD,
Nah,
you want
true.
them to own up. You want them to
Yeah.
own up to whatever they do. So so having it be a mind control kind of thing or a manipulated, I think
It just takes
hurts that.
away from it, doesn't
I guess I could see the twist being where I don't know, like what if it's a shapeshifter, and it's like
Yeah.
it? It could be, but I kind of hope not.
Well, now you're describing Secret Invasion over from Marvel.
True.
You know,
I don't know. I'm not saying I want it to. I'm looking at this and saying, how do they swerve this so that they're technically telling us the truth here that one of these is the murderer, but they're not really. Like they're not actually
Right.
making one of these
I
the
think
killer.
it's way more interesting if one of them actually is.
yeah.
I concur.
Well, that's why I think Booster being any of the 3, I think is the best choice.
I'm laying out the possibilities. I'm not saying I want these things to happen. I'm saying
Yeah.
here's
You're just checking boxes.
yes,
right?
what I could possibly expect given comic books.
Yeah.
'Cause, comics be comics.
But yeah, Just knowing what we know, that Ivy and Harley and Booster are going to are going to factor prominently into this. Each one of them fits into one of those categories, I think.
Yeah, those three are probably the accused.
Yeah, I can see them being accused. And they'll probably use the fact that Wally was disregarding the well-being of the entire universe when he tried to save his kids as maybe, evidence as to why he's a bit unhinged and maybe isn't
if anybody belongs in Sanctuary, it is Wally, given what we've seen in the Flash the last months.
He's had a rough time.
Definitely.
Also, when you thumb through this, there's an article about the fastest people in the DCU, and they put Wally as faster than any of the Flashes, which I think is interesting.
I think that's always been true, though, is it not?
Yeah, but they've waffled back and forth with him and Barry and whatnot. But the fact that they put that in an article in here, I feel like it's raising Wally's prominence a little bit more for what's to come in Flash, and I think even here. So I think that could be interesting.
That seems weird to me. That Cheetah and Wonder Woman are quicker than Godspeed and Kid Flash.
Well, if Diana has the gifts of the gods, I mean that would include Hermes, right?
It would, yeah.
So
that just seems strange to me.
I wouldn't have said that Wonder Woman and Cheetah were faster than any of the speedsters, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I think they're fast, but I never got the impression they were speed.
Short, well, like a cheetah in like the animal. A cheetah's only fast in short bursts, right? So maybe in a sprint, she's faster than Wally. Not Wally, but Wallace.
Yeah.
And
also, it's kind of like how Superman is really fast, but he's not as fast as a speedster.
No, and I've gotten into this with people where like Flashes or Superman's just as fast as Flash. You go, well, no, that undermines Flash.
Yeah,
Flash has got to be faster.
Where's Superman on that? I think he's faster than Cheetah than Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, he's at 4. So it goes Wally, Barry, Reverse Flash, and then Superman.
Fair. Okay. Yep. I agree with the top 3. Top 3 sounds fine.
Yep. And you have Black Racer, which Superman's just a little bit faster than him.
Yeah, and I'll accept that Superman's faster than some of the newer speedsters who haven't honed their skills yet.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying with Kid Flash and Godspeed. They're still new. Like, give them time. Because for a while, Barry was faster than Wally, than older Wally, so...
Yeah, just a thing to go against your Wonder Woman theory. Why is she so much faster than Shazam, who also has the speed of Hermes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Her Amazonian genes just respond better.
It says that she understands, because she's a warrior, she understands the mechanics of running better than anyone on the list, which gives her a slight edge. You can't...
Maybe it's like how...
I can understand the mechanics of running better than Usain Bolt, but I'm never going to be faster than that dude. Like, ever.
Yeah.
So...
Maybe it's like how, like, the common cold affects men worse. Like, Shazam just gets the short end of the stick with this. And Wonder Woman just naturally is better with it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm taking this far too seriously.
Yes, we are taking it far too seriously.
I just wanted to point, like, the fact that they put Wally the head of the list, I feel like they're elevating him for whatever's coming. Like, they're giving him a reason to still be Flash while also Mary's Flash. Because we've really never had them crossing over for this amount of time, right? Like, even when Barry came back, Wally was how long before Flashpoint happened?
Yeah,
it
was about a year, I think, and he kind of he wasn't really around. I mean, he was technically still in the universe, but he didn't really get any focus. He was barely mentioned.
So this gives them a reason to both exist, like storyline wise or in continuity. So
I'm super excited for whatever comes out of this for Wally. Like, I really think it really feels like, I don't know if like the head honchos really care about Wally as much, but the creators seem to really care about Wally.
Yeah, well, I feel when Johns was given such a pedestal there, I feel like he could have the directive, like, hey, Rebirth, bring back Wally, give him prominence. So, and I think Williamson now has taken that and ran with it. And now if King sees a story that he can tell with Wally, then awesome. Like, I really want Wally now to be a part of. When I saw him pop up in that honeycomb of characters there, it got me excited as a Wally fan.
Yeah. Of course, just to put a damper on it, Damage is also there, but
Yeah, but again, you need that red shirt that's like definitely. Oh, yeah, get rid of the whole character.
That book's not lasting, right?
No.
Damage? Oh, no way. But Joe, I think's funny about that though is to me he's the it's almost like if it's a Suicide Squad book. He's the one here to prove that the bomb necklace or whatever is functional.
Yeah,
he's a Slipknot. Yeah, from the movie. Yeah, that's who he is. All right, well, I guess that wraps up our news and speculation portion of the show. I think we'll probably go to some books because we have some big books to talk about. So without further ado, let's move on to Batman number 50. Tom King, and I'll say Mikel Janin because he did the main story sections, but there's like 25.
Yeah, we can't list everybody.
Yeah.
Like
it's... Well, we'll mention it because they're neatly all signed as we go, so we can tell them who did each page as we go. But yeah, Batman number 50. That's what we're doing. Well, where to begin with Batman 50? Obviously, it's the biggest book of the week. Everyone's been talking about it. There's been the internet's been not shutting up about their feelings on the book, and of course, before we even get to the book, we have the New York Times spoiling the whole thing to talk about. We'll get into that, but I guess we'll start with just how we feel. How did we like it? And a nice short summation. Matt, did you enjoy Batman 50?
Disappointed, very disappointed. So, get ready for a wedding. And then the way that this ends, I was just like, no, okay. Sounds like every superhero wedding ever. Like, we can't have nice things. So, and I gotta mention too, I made it through the whole week without being spoiled. Like, I was dodging those things like I was in the Matrix. So, I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. But then when I had made it to the end, I was like, oh, well, maybe I should have been spoiled. I would have had such high expectations.
Connor.
As the result of what happened, very disappointed. As an issue, I think it's pretty mediocre at best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was... Where do I kind of land here? I have some weird issues with things that don't quite line up with the build-up to it. Like, just in context of the story, there's some weird issues I have with it. I think there's some fantastic moments in the book. There's some fantastic moments sprinkled throughout, which we'll get to as we work through it.
Well, one of my favorite moments in King's Run happened in this one.
But
yeah, it's not all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's actually very well written. My bigger problem, the thing that everyone's really fixated on is that they're not actually married, right? The wedding didn't happen. I'm not actually bothered by that.
No.
In and of itself.
It's the reasoning... way it happened, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what bothers me, is the reasoning why it didn't happen.
Well, even the reasoning, I'm fine with.
I actually like the reason. I think the reason has a lot of story potential. It's introduced very suddenly before it happens.
The problem is, the seed of doubt is planted, and then 2 pages later, that's it. I forget it all.
But I do think it does good things for her character and something we can explore with her, probably in her book.
Yeah, and that's fine. But had we seen this in the build-up to it, like even in her picking the dress and like, should I do this? Should I not?
Yeah. Before people correct us, yes. We mentioned this when it happened a couple of issues ago. There was one issue. Issue 49 did end with the first tease of this logic.
That's still, to be honest, though, that's still too soon, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying otherwise. I'm just saying because we're saying it again just too quickly, and you specifically said 2 pages before. I want to just acknowledge it was brought up before before people correct us.
It's 2 pages.
Yeah. So, and that's what I mean about the reasoning is like, yeah, that's fine, and it's got a lot of potential, but the way that it was executed, it left me with a bad taste, and especially that final page. I'm just like, what is even going on here? Like.
I do think the reaction on the internet's been a bit in the rough side to witness.
Oh,
mainly because I feel like, regardless of the quality of the issue, what you're really mad about here is DC marketing and DC building it up as the big wedding issue, and having the ad that looks like the invite, and having all the covers, and
definitely doesn't help. I think even as an issue, I think it just doesn't. I think it doesn't read that well as an issue.
Well, no, I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with that. I'm saying, though, that the reason for the outcry, the reason for the backlash is not the issue's quality at all. I don't think it is. I don't think it remotely is. I think people are just pissed because they were promised a wedding and it didn't happen. And I think the reason why it doesn't bother me, and maybe why it doesn't bother us as a whole, is because we always kind of went into it with the 50-50 of, it's either going to happen or it's not, but I think it's pretty equal a chance that it won't happen. And I was okay with it not happening. It just, whatever the reason is, fine. But DC promoted this so heavily as this special wedding issue that it's actually really bizarre reading it when it was clearly never going to be a wedding. So
I actually thought that all the marketing, the swerve would be there was no swerve. Like, we're actually going to get a Batman Catwoman wedding. Because
I was kind of thinking that.
They're priming us that it's not by making such a big deal. And I got worked, like, plain and simple. And that's fine.
Until the New York Times decided to spoil it in their headline. Like, I get
that annoyed me.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Comics have been doing this for 20, 30 years. Death of Superman was spoiled, and, the press.
So the worst part of it is, though, I don't even mind them spoiling it in the articles beforehand. Just not in the headline.
The headline,
because I can't avoid the headline.
Because the headline...
Barry White would want their head.
Because the headline was... I don't know what the start of it was, but it ended with, it was not meant to be.
It was, sorry, Batman, it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's obvious what that means. So, we all know now. Thank you for that. And I'll blame DC as well, because DC obviously okayed it, and were fine with it.
Yeah, they didn't... What annoys me is, why didn't they put an embargo on it? Leave the embargo on...
Because they want as much... They want as much press from this as they can get from
I know, but if they put that out Wednesday morning, let's be honest, the majority of people who are seeing that headline who weren't aware of the wedding in general anyway.
Yeah,
probably people who are going to buy it digitally. They're not the people already.
Well, no, I think more at the point though, people who weren't aware before and are only going to buy it because they get interested because of that headline. They're probably not going to walk into the comic shop on July 4th, right? That's the real thing here. That adds to it as well. It's just because even Tom King didn't know, and Tom King was pissed about it. He was tweeting that he was kind of, he was clearly annoyed.
Well, he should.
He did somewhat make it worse by not entirely understanding how Twitter works, because he liked some people who were complaining about it, who were sharing, like, people were sharing the headline and complaining that, oh, really, in the headline, and he was liking those tweets. So then it comes up on my feed going, Tom King liked this. And I'm seeing that there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blame him for that. I get what he's doing there.
Yeah, no, I get it. Just learn how Twitter works a little.
So
bit more.
On a scale of 0 to Marvel spoiling Johnny Storm's death a week before it happens, where is this at?
This is pretty bad. Like this is probably the biggest blunder DC's made since we started this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So about 8.
Yeah, I think it is.
Johnny Storm's death's a 10.
I think a death in general being spoiled early is worse, but this is bad because of the marketing, because of the lead up.
No,
if this had just been, if we didn't know that this was going to be a huge wedding issue, and then they told us a week before, it's like, sorry, the engagement was pulled off.
So here's the thing. I think the marketing is the biggest problem with this book. I think I have some issues with it as well, but there's a lot in it I like. I think if they just... Okay, I would still be oversized because it's still issue 50, and they did that for 25, and that wouldn't be a big deal, right?
Yeah.
But because of the way they've heavily done this wedding thing, and they've made it such a huge deal, and they've promoted the shit out of it, to the point where I think they offered refunds to stores this week who did like midnight parties with wedding cakes and shit. Said they offered to pay for it, which is an admission of guilt. I think is an admission of knowing they kind of messed up.
I know my store did a midnight because it was like this. There's a couple of new this Catwoman #1. I think new Captain America #1.
Yeah, there was a few big
and
things.
My store was actually starting its summer sale the next day anyway, so it just did a midnight.
And then even Man of Steel #6, if you want to throw it into the
pile.
No,
that was it. They mentioned that too.
But they're actually offering to cover the promotion costs, and because there's actually, if you go to Twitter and stuff, you can find images of stores that did cakes, wedding cakes for Batman and Catwoman, and it's like they spent all that, and obviously this all had to be done in advance. So this story from New York Times broke on Monday, so there's these 48 hours of them just being like, well, all the excitement that people had that they were going to show up at midnight for the parties just kind of dampened a bit. And I'm sure people still showed up a decent amount, but the spark was...
if they're doing giveaways and whatnot.
I did see a lot of people say they'll still buy the issue because they'd ordered it and they wanted to support their store. But I did see a lot of people saying they were going to take Batman off their poll list in response to that.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know how true that is, but whether they stick to it or not. But that
tells me that you're given more into the sensationalism than the actual storytelling by that standard. That's something I would have done 2 years ago. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, because I think I'll make this clear. I've loved King's run. I think it is 90% fantastic. And like this does not waver me. And he said repeatedly, he even said, as soon as the story broke, he said, this is a 100-issue run. This is not the end of even the Batman and Catwoman story. The whole thing's a love letter to them. Which is actually leading to me my next point, is that I actually think there's a really good chance that they'll still get married before the end of this run.
I think it's funny because last week we were betting whether or not they'd get married, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said if they do get married, they'll be divorced. You know, I was on the opinion that they wouldn't, but if they do get married, they'll be divorced in 100.
But also it's the opposite.
I think the other way around now. I think they get married in 100.
Now, I actually really like that. I like the idea that it won't be like a build-up next time, though, and I don't think it can be. I think it will be like a surprise. Kind of like the proposal where... And this is actually my main problem with the issue, actually, believe it or not, before we talk about anything else, is that at the start of the book, there's a funny bit with Kite Man, and it makes sense that Kite Man's in issue 50 because he's been such an important part of this Batman run. But Batman and Wonder Woman, Batman and Catwoman are basically just like,
slip.
so how about we just get married tomorrow on a roof? Yeah, let's do that. We'll be small, no one will be there. We started off the one-shots building up to this. Damien's getting fitted for a suit. What was all this happening for?
Everyone knows about this.
Yeah, kind of reinforces. I don't know if it was James or Connor that pointed out like none of those wedding one-shots matter. In fact, I stopped buying them.
In fact, Seeley, I believe, tweeted saying, "If I can avoid spoilers for issue 50, and I wrote 5 things leading up to it, then you've got no excuse for not avoiding them."
But
one, I think, is a dick attitude because it's a headline.
That is.
And two,
that's very much.
he did not read issue 50. He did not know how this was going in.
Right.
When he was writing.
Which he admitted. But what's funny about that, though, is that he clearly... I mean, he may have known the wedding wasn't going to happen, but he clearly didn't know that the actual wedding, when it happened, was going to be on a rooftop with no one there except Alfred and
I think
Holly.
that's insane. How can he not know that going in?
Well,
how can if you're writing
King
5 lead-ins?
Writing problem. Well, they used to be writing partners. They wrote Grayson together.
Yeah, they did.
So you think there'd be some kind of communication?
Right.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Those one-shots feel like a complete cash grab even more than they did before. It is actually bizarre to me. They didn't even know where it was going in the one-shots. It's weird.
They've annoyed me. I stopped reading them because I thought, no, this just feels like a cash grab. But now I'm even more annoyed at them.
Yeah,
it's so stupid. And again, I think the one-shots kind of add to the fire. It adds a little bit to it, and it's just rough. So that really bugged me. I didn't understand. As soon as they started setting up for this like secret wedding that no one was going to be there, I was like, but wait a minute, we've had bachelor parties and Damien getting suited and
discussion of who's going to be the best man.
Yeah, all this stuff.
And bachelorette party, like,
and all of it was like not even in continuity by the sounds of it.
Yeah, nope. And that's a problem, but I can glaze over that for.
Geez, I mean, it's weird.
We got to go back to Porky's.
But it's a big editorial oversight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so weird. I don't even know. So yeah, so we start with them, and then basically the structure of the book is after a couple of pages of like the main story with Janin art, right, which is building up to the wedding and them getting ready. There's like 2 pin-ups, like they're always in pairs.
Yep.
And the first one's always from Batman's perspective with his narration, and then the second one's always from Selina with her narration. And they're basically talking about each other's eyes throughout almost the entirety of this, and talking about seeing each other in their eyes. And so obviously these, for the most part, look absolutely fantastic. Obviously there's some great stunners in here. I got real nostalgic when it hit the sale one because it looked on Halloween.
Well, I think that's what's really interesting is just most of these, as pieces of art, I like a lot. There's a lot of fantastic images. I feel like it really kills the flow of the book to have these mostly unrelated just image. It's pin-up pages, right? It's the celebration pages.
Yeah.
As part of the story, the sale one is one of the rare exceptions where it's actually got panels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also I landed on the Fabok page. I always want to point out he's a great artist, and I love that Catwoman suit. The purple with the high boots and stuff. But he went a bit nuts with the boobs on that page. I'm not gonna lie. They look like metal balls.
To be fair, have you seen Batman's arms?
Okay, but I mean how shiny they look though.
24-inch pythons.
They look like
It's
almost
the way the light's coming off it.
yeah,
isn't it?
it's almost bowling balls. It's just like 2 bowling balls on her chest. It's weird.
Yeah.
So that really stuck out to me.
They don't respect gravity at all.
They don't respect
Hang on. To be fair,
physics.
that suit is clearly holding them up. They're that tight.
Well, I think that's my point. It looks more painted on her skin than it does an actual suit, which it often still does when it's drawn properly. So I'll critique that a little bit. Yeah, Frank Miller can go piss off.
Yeah.
With his Dark Knight
I like the
Returns.
stuff with Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Yeah.
Where
I like that. I like that they're fighting them. One of them's fighting each of them simultaneously. That's a nice touch.
No, it's good, and there's some great stuff in here. The scene with Alfred, where Alfred's like, "Oh, who do I get? Do I get Clark or Richard to be there for you?" And he's like, "No, you, Alfred." And like Alfred
It's always
breaks
been
down.
me and you. That right there, one of my favorite moments in King's Run, just because it's a human moment, like between those two. So, oh man, so good.
It's got the character interaction, the human parts of the story, all play out really well in the scenes they're in. Albuquerque's got a nice page. I'm going through it as I'm talking.
That's a good one. The Hughes page was pretty bad as I'm thumbing through these. That's another one I wasn't big
Hughes. I'm not at Hughes yet. Where's Hughes?
Hughes is one of the cycling back through.
I'm trying to find it.
I'm going. There's a lot of pages.
It's got a really bad. It's page 16.
Oh yeah. I'm way past
It's
that.
right after Bermejo.
Oh yeah, Bohemian was good. Huh? Go back to 16.
Yeah. But that's not Adam. It's Adams, not Hughes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's Neil Adams. Yeah. I was gonna say I thought Hughes had a good one if he was in here.
Yeah. No, I misread the name on the bottom.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah.
I'm not sure. Catwoman's arm and the hat. It feels weird, doesn't it?
And the whole pose. I don't get that. Like.
And this is the thing. Like, we had that one story in Action 1000 that did this with all the pinups, right? The Gleason run.
Yep.
And that was fine because it was one little story amongst all the others, and then the rest of the pinup art that was there, which I don't know if you got because I don't think the pinup pieces were in the digital version.
They weren't.
They were only in the print. They were just scattered throughout between stories, and I feel like these make a fantastic gallery of images celebrating their relationship to put at the start or the end of the book. But I don't think they work as part of the story.
I mean, I don't have as much of a problem with the flow as much as Connor does. I don't agree that it's perfect or anything like that, but for me, because it was such a system, it was always the pair, and it was always like, and they were kind of evenly spread. So the structure, once I got used to it, I came to expect it as I was going, I guess is what I'm saying.
Fair, but even when I knew what was coming, it felt really stop and start.
Yeah.
It just killed the momentum of the.
Yeah, for me, I got used to it. Well, after the first couple of batches, I was fine with it. I can see why it bothered you, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's not something that's going to work for everyone. But that was not an issue I had. Like I said, I think I like the book the most out of us, but I'm still. I've still got issues here.
So, also, I like when they throw in little Easter eggs to creators of the character's past, but sometimes it goes a little too far. Like, everything in this one is a reference to a creator in the past, whether it's the Conway bedroom or O'Neill Ave.
Oh yeah,
the
there was
Englehart bedroom.
so many creator names and like the streets and stuff. This issue.
And like that's
Tons
cool, and I appreciate it, but like, King, we tone it down a tad.
Actually, to be fair though, I remember a couple of them popping up previously in the run, so they're actually it's almost like they're doing a good job of saying no, O'Neill Avenue is a real place in Gotham, and it's always there.
Well,
it's the bedrooms that get me. Even when people in mansions don't name their bedrooms, right?
No, not really.
I mean,
it's it's the third one on that hall.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I feel like you don't name them unless you're using it as a little hotel.
Connor,
if you're running a bed and breakfast, sure.
When I get a mansion, I'll let you know if I feel like naming them.
Yeah.
I might. If I've got a mansion, if I've got like 50 bedrooms, I might name them.
Do you know what the worst part is? I feel like you'll do it now just to spite me.
I will.
He will.
Yeah. And they'll all be named after
and
characters.
trainers inside to upset Stu.
And they'll all be named after characters from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire, so just to add extra insult to the injury. This is the Buffy boudoir. This is the.
I just say it gets its worst when there's the Kane Plaza and the Finger Tower. I was just like, okay, like.
There was a lot. There was definitely a lot. So yeah, they're not married. I fully believe that. And here's what I like about this. Right, here's what I like from the character perspective. So Selina is doing this because she sees this as her heroic sacrifice, that by choosing not to, because she thinks that Batman needs to be miserable, that Bruce needs to be miserable, or Batman doesn't exist. And that's really unhealthy. That's like, I've seen people like critique this and saying, oh, but that's like, that's enabling someone with a problem. You shouldn't do that. But I think that's the point. I think the point is that she's making the wrong choice, and she sees this as the heroic sacrifice that she's making.
So,
but we're going to get that story, right?
Yeah. So I think where this is going to go is this whole wedding was between Batman and Catwoman, right? Like Bruce Wayne can't marry Selina Kyle, but I think by whenever they do finally get back together, it will be Bruce and Selina getting married, even if it's in a private little ceremony. They're getting eloped by whoever. You know,
not some drunk minister,
think that's
right?
Yeah, some drunk minister.
Yeah. So I think that's where it's going to go.
about?
Is she's not marrying Batman? She's marrying Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And that Bruce can coexist with Batman. They're not one and the same anymore.
And I think
feel that's going to be a journey for Bruce to go on.
Because that's been the point of King's Full Run, is can Batman be happy and still be Batman? That is the point of the entire thing. And Selina has basically come to the conclusion that he can't be, and that Batman needs to exist because he does so much good. And that's why she sees it as a heroic sacrifice. But I think the point of the run is that, no, maybe he can get better. Like, I think when you look at this as a traditional Batman story, that's when you start to maybe see kinks and you start to pull it apart. But as a story about Batman as someone who is deeply troubled, and can he actually like grow and recover from it, I think that's where this run shines, and I think there's a lot of high points in there. So I'll defend this run a lot. I know Conrad has more problems with it more often than
I do.
I do.
This issue is the peak of my problem of it needs a plot to back it up. When it's not got a plot and it's just about when it's just the character work has been great, but it needs the plot to back up the character work for me.
I don't agree with that.
And I prefer the character. Well, I prefer the character stuff. Like the Superman Lois stuff is still my favorite from this run, just because we got to see them all being like people. Like it didn't feel like a superhero comic.
I think that's Mike's about to go.
Yeah, I'm not saying that none of the character issues have been good. Like those, Superman ones were very good. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it has to. When he goes so long without plot backing it up, it starts losing steam. It starts losing momentum.
Plots for whims. Plots for whims. You don't need plot. What you need.
No, see, and that's where I'll disagree too. I like a balance.
I'm being facetious, Matt. I'm not being literal.
Okay.
I'm just.
Well, no, but I've heard people say that. Like I've heard people like go, "Well, I don't need plot in a comic. I just need character development." I'm like, well, why can't we have both?
Oh, we can have both. But
yeah,
I
feel King's done a good job at that.
When you're doing close examinations, though, I think it's okay to have issues that don't. Like I think it's okay to have an issue that is just about like one like conversation or one, whatever.
I agree with that, but I think it's been too much in the last 15, 20 issues or so.
Yeah, but look at More Jokes and Riddles. That was all story.
No, it was, which is why I say I think it's got worse as it's gone on. Between the Ivy stuff, the church, there's been a few chunks in this last section of the run where I'm really starting to feel it.
Nah, those church issues were great. I dispute that.
Quality aside, is my point is these character issues instead of the plot, they've all been focused into this chunk of the run. So it feels uneven. I feel like they're all being squeezed in at once. And this is not about, they could be the best issues ever. And you might think that, and that's fine. But in terms of pacing, in terms of where they're coming in the run, I feel like it's been long chunks without the plot driving it forward anymore.
Because for me, the reason why it's getting more personal and more focused as we get towards what was going to be the wedding is that it's like all the other stuff's drowning out because that's all they're thinking about. So it's becoming more focused because it is more personal, it's more reflective because they're starting to question, because like they always do with wedding stories and anything, it's like, oh, is this the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? I'm making this commitment, and you start reflecting on your past. And I think that's why the issues have become more like that in the build up to it. So I think it's actually quite smart. I think in terms of pacing, it's almost like it's the wedding equivalent of like in an action movie where you're building up to like the third act explosion where things start tensing up and there's more and more adrenaline and stuff. It's kind of the emotional romantic equivalent of that. In a bizarre way.
But then there's no explosion.
Well, yeah, there wasn't an explosion, but we're not debating what the payoff. We're debating all these issues.
But if you build up to it and then it's a wet firework, like you're kind of like, oh well.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying, oh, I'm gonna stop reading. I'm taking off my pull list. I'm not at that point. No. But it's left me less excited about the run going forward.
Oh no, this final page has got me freaking hyped for how batshit insane this is going to be.
See, I don't agree there. I think I'm the midpoint between you two, because like I got to that final page and I was just confused.
Well, let's talk about the final page then. So we return, right? So obviously Holly throughout the book has been with Selena, and obviously she was in Arkham and she's been let out to for the wedding.
And she still killed all those people, right?
She did, yeah.
Still... Okay.
And we should point out she's the one who planted the seeds of doubt in Selena's mind.
Well, that's what I was just getting to, but I was just getting to like explain that she's been here out for the wedding, and she's the one who's like sort of like going back to those ideas, and she goes back to Arkham at the end of the book, and it turns out she goes back, and there's a page, the final panel of the book is her saying the bat is broken, and this is Bane's there on like a throne of skulls. Where these skulls came from, I don't know, but
it's the same throne he had last time, right?
Was it? I can't remember.
So
he was on that throne in that arc, the third arc of the book.
And I Am Suicide.
That's fair. Yeah, fair enough.
It. Yeah.
So Bane's there. He is in some way manipulating this stuff to the point to break Batman in a way that's different, and I like that. I like the idea that instead of just breaking him physically, this is like much more personal. This is much more like malicious and emotional. But here's the thing: Bane's not alone. There's an entire group of characters around Bane, and some of them make sense to a point. Riddler's there, Joker's there, Psycho Pirate.
I'm not sure Joker makes sense in this. No, honestly.
No.
It makes enough sense.
This is my argument.
Plan? No chance.
I don't know if all of these people are actually here.
Well, we'll get to that. Let's get through the rest of them. As far as Joker's concerned, though, I don't think it's that weird. Joker's been in plans before. He's in the goddamn Legion of Doom and Justice League right now.
Against Batman, given that he was again to go back to how things have not found continuity recently. He's just been going around waiting for his wedding invitation. He's like, oh, there's something going on. Like he just found out about it through the the scuttlebutt.
Until you actually see how he interacts with Bane, until you know what the plan actually is, I feel this is weird to criticize this right now. You're reacting to one panel of him just being there.
Yeah.
No, fine.
I think that's jumping the gun.
It feels wrong.
I think Joker would happily team up with anyone if it's going to mess with the Batman.
But see, that goes against what King had said in the church issues, where he wants Batman around because Joker does all this to give Batman a reason. So I don't see him teaming up with Bane doesn't necessarily mean like that means more Batman for him. I think Joker could do that all on his own.
Well, he could do, but Joker's whole thing is he likes to provoke Batman and try and get different reactions out of him. So him working with a group of others to achieve that isn't necessarily out of the realm of possibility. I don't know, this doesn't strike me as odd for Joker to be there. I guess is what I'm saying. I don't get the instant, keep oh no, this is wrong, this feels bad, why is he here?
Keep going on the other side, though.
So yeah, so this is where things get really wacky though. That's a normal, I didn't expect anyone to debate that side of the panel. Because the other side's way weirder. Right, we got the ventriloquist there with Scarface, okay, fine. Hugo Strange, alright, sure. That makes sense. He's not been around too much. He was there obviously at the start of the book, but with the build up to the Monster Men. But the two that really stick out here is weird. The two that is like, okay, what the hell are we doing? One is Gotham Girl, who I've not seen in a while, and of course, she wasn't a villain like before.
No, and I did criticize that we'd not seen her in a while because we saw the first arc was the ending of that was setting up this stuff that we haven't touched on since.
It's the end of Batman.
I don't have a problem with not seeing her a while. If anything, it makes her
that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, with her random appearance here, it actually has more impact because we've not seen her in a while. So, oh wait, she's here and she's with them. What? Why? Like I don't know. That works for me. Conrad does this a lot with the TV shows. Actually, he'll complain that they've not touched on something for a while.
No. My problem is they set up this that she was in. She was having this relationship with Duke. Where they were. This was all teased at the end of that first arc.
Less Duke is more Duke.
No, but my point is that's the first arc. That's the statement of what the book is, and then that just went away, and we got this different book entirely.
No, I don't agree with that. He's playing the long game. I have no problems with that. I don't see the first arc as a statement of what the rest of the run's going to be necessarily.
No.
That feels like a weird, hardline rule to set yourself into.
Who else is there, Pete?
So the final person that's there, that's especially out of freaking nowhere and batshit insane, and I don't mean that to make a pun, but seriously, Flashpoint Batman. What did they call the thing? The Batman mini in that?
Button.
No. The mini from Flashpoint with the Batman stuff. Night Avengers. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was getting Night from. It was Flashpoint Batman Night of Vengeance. That was the name of the book.
Sure, I try to forget as much Flashpoint as I can. So
no, that mini was great. That was fantastic. Those 3 issues.
Oh, that was the Azrael one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Also, you're missing Skeets. What's Skeets doing there?
I didn't even notice Skeets on the floor. Shit.
Yeah.
I was about to fight you, and I was like, "Oh shit, Skeets is on the floor."
Skeets is there too.
That's what makes me think. With the skulls, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
I never noticed him before.
That's what makes me think that this isn't what it appears to be. I feel like this is Holly. Because all of these represent the entire run. Like each, from Gotham Girl to Hugo Strange to Ventriloquist and Bane, the Button, Psycho Pirates there from the first arc, and then War of Jokes and Riddles.
And obviously Skeets just from the gift.
And then Skeets from the last one. So I feel, and then Holly from that stuff with Catwoman, where he had to clear her name and go with to the League of Assassins.
So are you saying that? Are you saying that Holly's real and she's kind of almost like seeing all this in her head?
I think so, because I have a hard time thinking this is in Arkham Asylum. Like, for them just to all assemble there like that, especially with Flashpoint Batman, like...
Admittedly, Flashpoint Batman's a big wrench in like any of the normal thinking that I'd have. I'll give you that. I don't know if I'm ready to jump to, Bane's not really there, though.
Unless it's so weird, because she is kneeling like this, and we've never had any inclination that she sees things, though, right?
No, but we know that she went nuts from killing all of those people. Like, that's why Selina took the fall for her. Because she knew she was mentally ill.
Don't get me wrong, I actually like the idea. I mean, I don't think this is what they're doing here, but I like the idea in some capacity that something like this, like the big revelation could be that Holly was never even with Selina, right? This issue, and Holly wasn't there, and that this all represents the doubt of like being with Batman. All this combined, all of this, it all represents everything that is like scary about him and what could like. I like that idea, but I don't think that's what they're doing.
That doesn't track.
Yeah.
No, I just feel like it's Holly is the main bad guy here. She's the one that's on. And maybe Bane's there too, but I can't buy that everyone's there. I feel this is more of a metaphorical piece.
I mean, it won't be that long before we know.
Like I said, that throne of skulls that he's got, that was in Santa Prisca, right?
Yes, it was. And then he came to Gotham, and Batman defeated him in I Am Batman. Yeah. So,
what happened to him after that? I don't remember.
We haven't seen him.
But that was just the end of the Bane story.
He wasn't captured or anything like that, though.
No.
No, okay. That's what I was on.
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But actually, I really like that this is bringing in everything in the run so far, and it makes me wonder, okay, what the hell are we doing with Flashpoint Batman? And
it does feel like the mid-season finale, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it feels like the mid-season finale. That's actually what it feels like.
But yeah, so I guess we should rate it, right?
We'll talk half an hour about Batman.
I'm trying to move this along. I gotta.
No. We spent a lot of time on it. No, I actually love how insane that last panel is. I just want to make that clear. I have issues with how they promoted this. I have issues with how none of this stuff building up to it actually feels in continuity, because apparently they were never having a big wedding in the first place. Because I'd be fine with it if they were going to have a big wedding and they said, hey, what about instead of going to the big thing?
But they hadn't even decided on somewhere yet. They hadn't booked anything.
Like if they turned to her and said, hey, I know we're going to get married in like 2 weeks at this big place, but how about we just elope tomorrow? Like, if that had been one panel of conversation, I'd have been like, fine, whatever. They changed their minds and did this instead. But they never apparently were planning a big wedding, so why was everyone else planning for it? It was weird. So that bugged me. I do think it kind of rushes, like, her making her choice. But I like the drama behind the choice and what it could... Because this is maybe the first time Selina's being truly heroic, where she's really being sacrificial for herself, for the good of others.
She's a character that's kind of driven by her own... I don't want to say greed, because it's not greed.
Yeah.
But all of her decisions are about Selina, not about somebody else. So when she makes the decision about Bruce, then
Yeah, it feels like a big thing for her. I like that. I think the last panel, I'm actually really excited about the insane plot we're going to get with this. So I'm into that. So I am a lot more positive overall, even though I still think the issue has a lot of big problems. The biggest problem I think though was the marketing. I think the way DC promoted it is the big win and really like drilled that into everyone's head. So yeah, we'll rate it. We'll rate the book. So Matt, what would you want to give it?
So the janitor, really good. Most of the pinups, really good.
Yeah.
And the story, really good. So I could say that this book was really good. So that's why I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, I think that's fair. Connor.
Yeah. See, the more I've thought about it over the week since I've read it, the less I like it. Yeah, when I read it, first thing I read on Wednesday, obviously, and I thought, yeah, I mean, it was okay. And the more I've got, it's just like, so what? I didn't like it that much. I really didn't. So I'm giving it a 4.
Difference in opinions is what makes this interesting. Makes us cook. I'm in a similar. I'll probably go slightly higher than that and go with 7.5. Like I think it's flawed enough that I can't really give like a great rating. Because ultimately I finished it, and there's things that I really like, but I still kind of feel like this was a murky finale to what we've been building to, because it's.
Well, there's definitely good things in here, but I don't think it's a very good issue. I mean, if this is my issue of a comic and I'm reading that, I don't think it's that well put together as a piece of a story.
Yeah, the pinups. I mean, I admire what King tried to do with the different, with the dueling speeches.
Yeah, the letters, right? But I just don't think it worked.
Like most modern blockbuster movies, it doesn't stick the landing, So, yeah, it's. I mean, the Alfred and Bruce scene alone though is worth half a point for me. Like I love that so much. So.
Wow. All right. Okay, that's Batman 50. So we'll move on, and obviously we're going to move on to the big number 1 of the week. That is Catwoman number 1, Joelle Jones, both writing and art. Actually, did you see? Because obviously on the cover there's a speech bubble with Selena saying, "Oh, don't read this before Batman 50, or I'll spoil the whole thing." Someone photoshopped that with don't read this before New York Times this week, or I completely spoil it.
Right.
I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah.
But hey, so Catwoman is left. She's away. Also, the variant by Art Germ, very good.
It's pretty gorgeous. Yeah.
Pretty gorgeous. So Selena is elsewhere, and basically the plot of the first arc here is that there's not just one copycat, but lots of copycats. Because the final page of the book, of course, is her finding an entire room full of Catwoman in her old costume. For the one that we just had for a long time.
The goggle costume.
Yeah, and obviously she's in her new costume as we go. So she's being
an odd story, like to jump into as the number 1.
Yeah, I think the last page helped a little in that there's a lot of them, but I was getting a lot of feeling of it being very similar to one of the last bits of the New 52 Catwoman, Genevieve Valentine. It was a great run. It was her as she was the crime boss, but there was a copycat Catwoman there as well, and that was pretty recent. That was the last time we had a Catwoman book.
Yeah.
So it felt a little weird to open this with, we're doing copycats.
Yeah, I never read that, so this was.
It's very good.
Completely new to me. So, but obviously the art is gorgeous. Joelle Jones is very good.
Yeah, art looks really good. It's the high point of the book.
Yeah, I
don't know.
What?
I think it gets better as it goes on, but I think the first that first panel, I think Catwoman looks a bit rough. I think it's just the inks are too heavy. They're a bit heavier than usual, and I think it doesn't work there. And the second page as well, like there's a few things as well. It gets into it as it goes on, though.
I actually have a problem with the opening of the book, but I just want to say one of my favourite panels in the book is actually when she comes out of the casino before she's arrested. Her hair's blowing in the wind and her skirt's kind of fluttering up a little bit. It's a great panel. Again, it's a bit more simplified. It's not as overly liney as before. Also, just a panel of her walking in so when the police light hits her, and it's just a silhouette in the circle.
I think it gets gorgeous as it goes on, but I think it opens just way too heavy on the inks.
Yeah, no, you may be right. But here's my thing about the opening. I actually think it was a little bit more complicated than it should have been. Jumping between the TV interview, her in the casino, and the fake Catwoman, who we find out later is the one who kills the security guard and is on the run from a thing.
Yeah.
There was a point where I was just having trouble flowing. because it was like I'm so used to having to switch between two scenes at the same time, because comics do that a lot, where they'll have two scenes going on and you're kind of following dialogue from both. But there was 3 scenes here, and I was like starting to get like just not follow the line of logic between each scene as I was reading the first couple of pages.
Yeah, I had to read it like 2 or 3 times.
To
get it going.
I think has Joelle Jones done much writing before?
Yeah, she's got her own book, right? Or create her own book. What was it called?
I'm not sure.
So Lady Killer.
There you go. Yeah, people like that. People love that book.
Fair enough.
To be fair, but after this opening, I thought it got quite good. Like I thought the writing was pretty solid for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was. It's very confusing because I don't know where it's going. Which again, for a first issue, sometimes works as a benefit. But here, it just feels like a car crash where you can't get a beat on where to start. Like, everything's going a million miles an hour, and then once it slows down, it becomes a much better book. You know? So, and it's almost from that panel.
Are definitely the worst, aren't they?
Yeah. Almost from that panel Pete was talking about, where she comes out, and it's like she takes a breath, and then the book takes a breath.
Yeah, because that's where it slows down, and she actually just reacts to things, and like, okay, what's happening here? And so it's much more in line with where we are as an audience at that point.
I think it's worth noting the book. In terms of visually, it's a bit cleaner from that point on. You know, there's not a million things on in the scene, you know, that are being drawn and quite heavy, because Joelle Jones is quite heavy on the art anyway, and that's fine. There are a couple of times later in the book, like in the storage, shop, like, you know, it looks a bit like cluttered. And I feel like that's how I feel about the early parts of this book. Even just the art, it looks a bit cluttered.
Because we get some supporting cast introduced, this detective who's a buddy or someone who knew the security guard who died. So it's setting up some characters that are going to be a thing.
Yeah, some supporting cast is always a good thing.
Yeah, where Selina's living now, Oliver Katz, of course. And we see the one connection to Batman here is that she gets, like, Alfred sends her costume. Just be like, took it upon myself to forward you your belongings. I will surely be missed. And she just gets upset. And I love the reaction shot of the cat, who's like, oh.
Uh-oh.
Mom's angry.
And then she breaks down and sees, like, she looks up at the news, and someone's, impersonating her. So she has to go take care of it.
So I love...
It's a nice transition to her old costume.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And I love that... the emotional effect of her running away and not going through with the wedding, it does seem to be bearing down on her. So I'm glad that that's going to be part of, like, her mindset as the book goes on.
So I'm guessing she's somewhere in Southern California, or like maybe because there's heavy Spanish on the buildings and palm trees in the background. So she's either in, like, Florida or California, I'd have to guess.
A lot of casinos as well, right?
Actually, it's California, because on the full page spread of her in her new suit, behind it says Cali Exchange.
Okay.
So unless Cali also means something else I can't think of.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to make an assumption there. Yeah, that's really they are, when she's fighting the other Catwoman. All that stuff is pretty gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's just really good. But that's the first issue.
I've noticed here that I really like Joelle Jones' art most when the backgrounds are really simple.
Yeah.
Like when there's a lot going on behind them, it starts to murky it up a bit. But like those shots of them just running along the rooftops, it's just simple. I think those look phenomenal.
Yeah, I think she's the perfect creator to do a new Catwoman. That's for sure. Because I feel like she has a handle on Selina. So
yeah.
So where it goes forward.
Yeah,
I was worried early on that I'm like, I'm probably not going to read the next issue. And then as I kept going, I was like, oh no, this is good.
Yeah, it's a rough few, like 3 or 4 pages at the start, and then it evens out and gets pretty solid. So, so obviously we'll be back with Catwoman number 2 next month. It's pretty good. We'll see where it goes. I guess we'll rate the book. Matt, what are you giving it?
This is because the first jumble. It's a 7.5. I do love the art though. The art once she takes a breath, it really, really steps up.
Yeah, Connor?
6.5. Similar reasons, would have been higher, but early stuff just jumbles it a bit.
Yeah. I'll probably give it a 7, I think. Which does actually mean that I rated Batman slightly higher than this. Which is funny, because I think this is obviously a more, like, full story, I guess, in that sense, but there was a lot of good stuff in Batman that picked that up for me. So, But yeah, 7 out of 10 for Catwoman. Hopeful for the future though. It seems like a promising start. So we'll move on then to Man of Steel number 6. Could you believe that when we got to Man of Steel number 6, it was the third book we'd talk about? But that's just because...
I mean that's fair though. I mean,
yeah. We had the wedding stuff, and obviously Catwoman's the number 1, but...
Yeah, but now we get answers.
More
questions.
In fact, it's fun that they had Fabok do the John and Lois stuff throughout all the issues, because he's doing this issue. And the vast majority of it is actually the John and Lois stuff. The Rogal Zar fight is, it's happening, and we cut back to it every so often as it's going on, but it's not the primary focus of the issue. And I love he's fighting Rogal Zar. He grabs the vase that he's using to.
Yeah.
The thing that he's got in the core of the earth, and he flies it out to space and he throws it away, and so they're fighting in space. I love the moment Supergirl intervenes, because Superman's starting to maybe not do so well, and then Kara just shoulder tackles him as hard as she can. And Superman's like, "Oh God, I love her."
It's very American football, because she's holding the projector. Yeah. Right, and she lowers her shoulder, and it's she's learned some things from Midvale. Yeah. You know.
And then she actually is the one who wins the fight, because she actually booms him out of the Phantom Zone, and Clark's like, well, that's not a foolproof solution. We're going to have to think of something else. And she's like, I agree. And that sets up our book, because she's like, I'm going to go and try and discover who he is, where he came from, and so on.
Oh man, I'm upset just continuity wise that Zod's not there, because I would love to see the interaction between super pro Krypton Zod and anti Krypton Zar, because there's no way they coexist in the Phantom Zone.
Or even would this be the villain that finally has Superman and Zod team up?
Yeah, I believe so, because Superman's almost the midpoint between them, and where he's like, I love Krypton, but I'm not about Krypton.
What's funny to me actually is that Bendis, with this, I mean, he proved it already last issue, but this issue especially, that he is pulling so much from recent history that we thought he was going to ignore. There's so much recent history that's brought up with John specifically.
That's my main problem with this Man of Steel mini, is it is a bridge, but it's a bridge just to Bendis. Well, no, I feel this could have been his first arc,
I love how I set up a point, and then you jumped in before I finished the point with that. That's what I don't like about it, and you went off in a whole direction. Yeah. But no, what I was going to say is that he's brought up so much history from stuff that it actually wouldn't surprise me if Zod does end up factoring into this Rogal Zar stuff when Zar eventually comes back and he's relevant again. It would not shock me if Bendis does bring Zod into the picture at that point. I really could see it. But yeah, so that's basically it. And there's a great double page spread of Superman and Supergirl with the Justice League, and I love how the League are all in coats and stuff because they're in the Arctic. But they're doing a vigil for Kandor, and they send off all these little bottled cities, not actual cities, of course, but
representations.
They send them all off into the sky, and it's a really nice page. It's really good stuff. But yeah, we have the John and Jor-El stuff with Clark and Lois, and they're dead set against. And we were questioning last issue, or I was, 'cause you weren't here. Why?
But we were probably on the same boat.
Yeah. Why is John so determined to go? Because he was very almost out of character the way he was like, no, I'm putting my foot down, I'm going, guys. And I was curious, okay, what's his motivation? And I have to give it to Bendis. His motivation actually is interesting, because he says the Teen Titans rejected me, and he specifically points out, okay, if I'm so good, if you have no worries about me growing up, then why do I grow up to kill lots of people? And they're like, wait, what? What are you talking about? He's like, no, the me from the future that almost killed the Teen Titans. He grows up and he kills a lot of people with his supernova, and they don't really have an answer. But that's an alternate version. You don't have to worry about him. Just you be you, and you do your own thing. But that's why he's worried. And I'm like, you know what? As a motivation, I did not expect him to bring up that Super Sons of Tomorrow as a reason for this.
You could say that with this entire run almost, as I didn't expect Bendis to bring that up, and he does. So, and I love the John and Lois stuff. So I'm happy to know that they will be coming in within a couple issues of action and Superman.
Lois is for sure. John might be a little bit later.
Yeah. But he did say, because I found our good friend Talking Superman tweeted out a piece of an interview, and they will be showing up. It's just not going to be right away. Yeah. Except for Lois. Lois is back within issue 1 or 2 of action.
So, like, yeah, to anyone who was worried, like, I was saying from the start that this was a lot of worry over nothing. He's not erasing Lois and John, and sure enough, like, he is pulling so much of recent, like, continuity as part of the story. I am actually really surprised. I wasn't expecting this, but I wasn't expecting Super Sons of Tomorrow. I wasn't expecting Jor-El post, Mr. Oz to show up. So I'm actually really surprised.
And it's a nice device when you have this maniac that's trying to wipe out Superman's family, that they were taken off before it happens, like, so that was super nice. I also love Perry, them talking about when she has to tell Perry she has to quit.
Yeah,
he's never yelled like that at her before.
He said I was fired, and Clark's like, I was listening. He said you were fired.
Yeah,
but I'm sure he says that a lot. He's Perry. That's what he does.
Exactly. So
of course Lois is like, okay, if we're going to go, I'm going to, because he actually, I mean, Jor-El's like, well, you can all come if you want. Like, I mean, hell, Superman here could probably learn a thing or two as well. That little troublesome child of mine. And he's like, no, I'm Superman. I need to protect the Earth, and also I've got a job. But Lois has made a book deal, and she's got a second book to write, and she's like, you know what, this could be my second book. I could go around the galaxy with her son. And Superman actually gives her his outfit, one of his suits. It kind of implies there's only one as well, because she's like, what are you going to wear? I'm like, I thought you had, like, I mean, I guess not, because in the comics
it's the new 52 suit. It's why the Trunks came back.
Yeah.
That's what I took that as, is he's wearing an older suit.
Okay, there you go. I never even thought of that. That's actually really smart. Do you know what it is? Yeah, but he's been wearing that the whole issue. It's all set in the past after this. You're right.
It's all set in the past.
That's why I never thought of that. Yeah, because every time I've seen him since Action 1000, he's had the trunks. So it's for me, he's had the trunks for ages now. I've not even been thinking about why.
No, but this is all before that.
Yeah. So he's wearing the old suit, and she's wearing the new 52 suit. Oh, that's great. Really cool. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. I want to see Lois in the suit, which apparently Back to the Future Part 2 style will fit the wearer by pressing the button.
Yeah.
Behind the buckle, so I'm curious to that. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's real good. Fabok's art is top notch here. Like, I'm glad we waited. It was seeded throughout, which I thought was super smart. Like, Bendis, he's always finding a way to tell a new story. Like, any of his stories, I've never felt like, oh, this is just the same thing over again.
Yeah,
and I'm happy with Superman. He was like, oh no, we're gonna see where John and Lois went, and then we're gonna give it all in the final issue. So. But my one drawback is, as I was hinting at earlier, is I almost feel like this didn't need to be its own mini with the way that they made it sound like, oh, this is going to change Superman forever. Not really. It just sees what he's going to be doing, what Supergirl's going to be doing. Like, it is a reset for the Superman family books.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really solid. It sets up Supergirl, it sets up Superman in action, and and obviously the other thing we have to talk about, so the ending, the last page, we go back, because obviously we've been setting up this fire thing throughout the book, the series.
Yep.
And Good, the firefighter we've been introduced to, she's like, looking for the clues. And the last page, this kid comes in and says, I saw who started the fires, it was Superman. So that's like our big, cliffhanger. Like, oh wait, what? What does this mean? Who's impersonating Superman? What's happening?
Yeah.
Or is Superman having like weird blackouts because he's, or something? Like, what's happening? This doing this. And so that's another big cliffhanger. But one thing I noticed when I was looking through it again before we started the show today is that at one point with Jor-El, and I remembered this line mostly because I remembered at one point he says, "Oh, what's John going to grow up and do? Put on his baby clothes, right?" I remembered that. That was like a little dig at him, wearing the Superman outfit. But the actual full line was, "What's he going to do? Put on his baby clothes and put out fires." That was the exact line. I thought, okay, I don't know if he necessarily knows anything about the fires, but I think thematically it's a nice little like tease. It's like, hey, these fires that we're doing recently are kind of related to Superman.
Yeah.
That's a neat little tease.
You get the you get the feeling that this is the first time Clark has been lonely since he's come to Earth, because he's always had the Kents, and then he had his friends, and then he had Lois and them and John, and now he has nobody. Like, they're gone. Unless
you're counting New 52 Superman, where he was kind of this lonely guy who just had his landlady for his early days.
Well, and even then, I take that with Morrison as that was an out of continuity story that was meant to be like an Earth 1 kind of deal when that was about the Golden Age.
I'll go with it. That's fine. Yeah,
but
I'll accept that.
For the first time, and we've gotten hints of the death of the Kents. you know, how something's not right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but overall, I like this mini. I'm definitely going to pick it up when it's collected.
Yeah, I liked it a
Add to my
lot. I think, yeah, it's only the start. It's a prologue to the two books. It's not the whole story, but I think it's got me excited. I'm someone who likes Bendis' pacing and dialogue, and I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people think he's too decompressed. I actually like that. I like his pacing and how his characters' voices sort of.
It almost feels
through.
like Superman Rebirth, like John's Rebirth, like with Flash and Green Lantern.
Oh,
but
those I can see what you mean by that.
Informed what was going to happen, and reestablishing that character. This almost feels like it's reestablishing Superman weirdly, even though he never went anywhere.
Yeah, because get into the two series. Obviously, Superman issue 1's next week, so we'll be looking forward to that.
So excited!
But action is the more Daily Planet focus, so it makes sense that Lois is in that book when she pops up. We have the person trying to take over the planet. That woman whose name I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yep, I just remember the redhead fire lady.
Yeah,
Melody Moore.
That's good. Yeah. Or Moore, yeah. Oh, Good's the one taking over the planet. Yeah, Moore's the firefighter. Yeah, you're right. I was remembering all of them. So she's good, and then firefighter's Moore. So we got the fires, which I think maybe more of a Superman plot. So we'll have that in Superman. Yep. We'll have Daily Planet with Good and all that stuff in action. And we've set up Rogolzar. That set up Supergirl's book, which is coming back in August to go look at that stuff. So it's just feeling good. I felt positive.
And John's gonna come back a changed kid from Journeying the Galaxy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Like, I wonder if that leads to some sort of new thing.
I mean, because the fact that he brought up stuff that Tomasi was handling, I'm wondering if that book that Tomasi's been teasing, if that has anything to do with it.
Well, in addition to the Super Sons mini.
Yeah. Because remember he had said he had plans, and it's not just the mini. I feel so. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get a Superboy book. See, I think originally I'd have said I hope he joins the Titans, but given that I'm not feeling super confident about the Teen Titans book that's about to start,
keep him away.
Yeah,
keep him away.
I'm not sure I want that. So
put him with Kathy and Nobody and Crypto, and have them have the Tomasi adventures.
Sure, yeah.
Please.
Call them the Super Squad or whatever. Take your pick.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Exactly.
That's fine. I'm cool with that.
No. I'm excited to be reading all the Superman books again. So.
Yeah, no. As am I. I feel really positive. And obviously, again, it's down to taste. People don't like Bendis, that's fine. But I think we're both in a really good place. And then Connor's just not reading it, and that's fine. That's whatever. He can be grumpy over in his corner. That's fine. So, Connor.
Being grumpy.
You're very grumpy. You should have heard him last week, Matt. I was missing you so much last week. Connor was being negative on every single book. It was so depressing.
I wasn't being that negative. I give a lot of 7s.
Matt, what would you rate?
We're 7s in a casino.
What would you rate Man of Steel number 6?
This is an 8.5. I really love the art, but overall, this was the capper on the mini that I kind of felt like, okay, well, it didn't really necessarily need this. It could have been a first arc or whatever.
But which book?
I don't know. That's the main problem.
That's why that's why I thought it's a separate mini before the book starts, because it doesn't fit into
I get that.
the other.
With the way that DC sold it, again, it's DC's marketing, is changing Superman forever. And
I never believed that though, because they always every single relaunch. Oh, this will change this character forever. It's always bullshit.
Yeah, but
it's always bullshit.
When you bring the title Man of Steel into it, it really feels like they're leaning into that more, because that title has trade amongst Superman mythology. So, but no, an 8.5. It's pretty solid.
Sure. All right. So, I'll go with it. 8.5 as well.
Okay.
I think I'll agree with that. I give the last couple a 9. I think this one, I loved it as well. But because it kept going back to the John stuff, it wasn't necessarily as well rounded. And obviously, I think Fabok's really good, but he's coming after Adam Hughes. And I don't know if you loved the art last week as well. But
I did.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I did.
So here we are. But that is Man of Steel. So we can move on. We can move on to Justice League number 3. The actually, who was it that tweeted this? Someone called this the Snyder Cut or something like that. On Twitter, they said, "Oh, the Snyder Cut's out today," and it was it was Justice League number 3.
I'd love to have seen them all going wild.
That was really funny. And if you want
Snyder's take on Sinestro.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I love
So yeah, Scott Snyder's cuts of comic books I'll take. Snyder's cuts of
Yes.
movies, as in Zack Snyder, I can put in a burning fire and they should never see the light of day.
It's funny. Ashley pointed out to me this week that Zack Snyder's my supervillain. Like, if there's anyone that's counterbalanced to me, it's him. And she
Arch
just brought up some
nemesis.
really good stuff. Because, of course, I was going on a diatribe about something. And she's like,
As
yeah,
you usually do.
yeah, she's like, he really is your supervillain. Like, he probably likes everything you hate and vice versa. So, I thought that was pretty entertaining.
Does that mean Tim Burton's my supervillain? Is that what that is?
Probably.
So that's our Legion of Doom. It's Tim Burton, Zack Snyder.
And who's it for Connor?
I don't know.
Don't you dare say Bendis.
It can't be Bendis. No.
It popped into my
Yeah.
mind, I'm not gonna lie.
No.
So,
Yeah. So
It's Lovedale, isn't it?
Liddell.
oh, there you go, Lovedale. Yeah, that works for
That
us.
works for all of us.
Yeah, that works for us. No, Joe, he's the dark side. He's the villain as a team.
For everybody.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
He's the dark
I
side.
was thinking of a villain who represents, like, all of them, like, in the Legion. But, no, he doesn't belong to the Legion of Doom, because Lobdell is terrible. That's what that is.
So we start the book. Sinestro. It's a flashback to before he had a green ring, because it actually ends with like a Green Lantern like crashing or whatever
yeah.
behind
Which
him.
I like, though, that because as we know that most Green Lanterns don't travel in ships, I like that there's a parallel between Abin Sur and you know, him crashing in a ship and giving the ring to Hal, to whoever crashed for Sinestro also crashed in a ship.
Yeah, that's good. Because we find Sinestro basically finds this power, Umbrax, right? Well, this is the one thing I'll criticize Scott Snyder for, is that we're on issue 3 and we have like 5 like different like concepts and new names to remember of different things. And it's like, okay, we got Umbrax now, which is the thing that now is related to the ultraviolet spectrum, and so it sees the same symbol on this rock, this mystical cave rock thing. There's the same symbol from the doorknob that Lex found.
Yeah, and you learn that Sinestro had locked it away because he's like, nah, man,
This is dangerous. Yeah.
this is too dangerous. And it goes to again that Sinestro was a hero at a certain point before
Is
power
it
corrupted
just
him.
me that really wants more of intergalactic
Sinestro?
anthropologist Sinestro?
Yep.
Yeah, before he was the Green Lantern. I wouldn't say no to it. I wouldn't say no yet.
Nope.
Joe, it's funny. I think it looks best in the yellow lantern suit, but I do actually have a fondness for the classic blue spike suit.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that Snyder gives it a reason. Like he was, what is it? It doesn't react to the ultraviolet. That's why he can wear it. Like it gives him some type of shielding from it, and I like that.
Also, can
concept.
I just say, I never really noticed this until now, but Sinestro sometimes, and this is not a fault of the art. The art's fine. The art's really good here, but sometimes Sinestro, he looks like Alfred, but Alfred's gotten really embarrassed about something, so his face has been all red.
That's right. Yeah, a little bit. It's the mustache.
Yeah, it's the mustache and the hair.
It's also the chin shape as well.
Yeah. Just to point that out. So we cut in. John Stewart's just shown up with the ultraviolet suit on and Spectrum, and basically starts attacking the Justice League. You know what? It's funny. I actually think the panel at the top of that page with Wonder Woman screaming, "Whatever is as it's gripping you, you're a friend. You're better than this." I actually kind of love the art there, even though it feels really out of character for Wonder Woman to be screaming exactly, because it looks more like a teenage girl screaming the way she's like.
Yeah, I really don't like that piece, but I think that's one of the. I mentioned last issue how there was occasionally characters were drawn that I just don't agree that how they look.
Well, this is the thing.
And
that's
I think an
It's
example. Of it.
not right for Wonder Woman, but I think it looks really good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not badly drawn, but it's a badly drawn Wonder Woman.
But it made me laugh anyway. So I guess I'll forgive it a bit more just because it did make me chuckle. Because it felt so opposite to Wonder Woman that it just made me give it a little laugh.
It looks like Super Sons. It looked like that
Yeah,
should be.
it does.
She has the big eyes and the flat face, but John looks terrifying in that ultraviolet. Like he's very menacing.
It's all the tattoos on the head, isn't it?
That too.
Yeah, so his ultraviolet looks like constructs are doing a good job of beating up the League, and really, really tough. Ultimately, though, Cyborg's the one who kind of knocks him out with some sound waves, and
of course it is.
Sonics.
It's Sonics, yeah.
I'm just Cyborg saves the League again.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he's more than a phone booth, okay?
Yes, Snyder's done a good job here. He's trying to make us really take Cyborg as a big deal. In fact, that panel of him like above Aquaman as he's like getting ready to like do the sound waves, he looks quite badass there, to be honest. He's got kind of good look there. But so we cut to inside the totality. We know that Martian Manhunter and Superman are inside there, and Batman's inside Superman, and Hawk Girl's inside Martian Manhunter. But we also know the twist last issue was that Lex Luthor's also inside Superman in his own little ship.
I really wish Lex had been inside of Batman. So Lex, he's like a little Russian doll syndrome.
That could be funny. Yeah. What size would he even be at that point? Because Batman's already shooting molecules. He's already that small that he's shooting molecules with his ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and obviously there's the big reveal later on, which was a fantastic, probably my favorite moment of the book actually. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to it. So basically, this place is trying to like mutate them, and
it's feeling even more like Annihilation.
It is, and Hawk Girl and Batman are basically like blasting all the molecules to like protect them. So they're doing
keeping them from becoming mutated.
It's basically a mix of Inner Space and a bit of the Fantastic Voyage, which was a bit of ship that goes small enough to like go into the human body, and like the molecules are all like so big. It's just those mixed with a bit of like, I don't know, pick a video game, Space Invaders, lots of shooting.
Yeah.
It's a mix of those things. It's kind of insane. So Joel wakes up in the lab. And they're like, oh, see, what's happening here? What's going on? And he brings up Umbrax and that Sinestro locked it away, but he thinks that's what this is. And he's like, oh, and he thinks it's connected to like other, was it 6 other forces? Yeah, 6 other forces, yeah.
7 in total.
And Barry's like, what, it's still Force? You mean it's real? So, and I think we've said this before, but I'm fully expecting all of them to relate to one member in some way.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree, yep.
I mean, how many members have we got?
The Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Cyborg, Martian Manhunter. We haven't got any more than and Hawk Girl, I suppose.
I could see not one for Jean because Jean's already had the thing from Savage. He's got the link.
That's true. Yeah.
Telepathically. So
but what about the things that show up in Dark Atlantis? Like, you don't think those are something to do with Manhunter?
Oh sure, yeah, because Little White Martians. No, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Oh.
So maybe not every single one of them, but most of them. I feel like maybe not maybe Batman because Batman's not getting any powers.
That's true.
So, I mean that's Luthor too. Like that could just be the representative of Luthor. You know, they're mankind personified. Okay.
But yeah, so they basically look for some energy signals, and they're like, wait a minute, and they basically find the hidden base, the Legion of Doom base, and Aquaman's like, no, but that's like Dead Sea. Nothing's meant to be down there. It's impossible. And Wonder Woman's just like, no, well then, let's go. Or the Justice League.
Exactly.
We do things. So Superman and Jean are still in there, and they find, in the totality, they find huge statues. They're not really statues, but they're sort of standing still like statues. It's like a wall of these titans.
They're like a chunk of the source wall is what it looks like.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that.
Yeah, but they're actually solid. And Jean goes up to sort of try and inspect it telepathically. And I love the evil looking panel of Luthor go, that's right, Martian, don't slow down, do it. He looks proper menacing in there. So in his head though, it's like he becomes a child Martian, and there's like a child on the other side of the light, if you will, and almost as if there's a sheet of glass, and they put their hands up to touch, and that's when he receives the vision of like what looks like Martians being killed, or at least similar type beings being eradicated, like just outright chaos. And once again, Jean's terrified. The Titan wakes up. He's like, "You, the first abomination, you must be destroyed." And he's big, galactic, and titany.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very. I'm getting like old school action adventure vibes. From it.
Yeah.
Like.
In fact, I mean, there's a lot of great panels in this. One of my favourites, still, maybe the next page, when the League's coming towards the secret lair, and I love how it just kind of looks like Black Manta's helmet with the lights coming through the window, and
all these dead whales around it.
Yeah, it's just a really nice panel, and I love that. Obviously, Aquaman's just swimming, but Flash and Wonder Woman are in the invisible ship, and he's questioning, "Wait, why can they see us? Why does it work that way? That's stupid."
Yeah. Why would it work like that?
Isn't this supposed to be stealthy? What's stealthy about us just floating midair?
Yeah.
It's a fun. It's a fun little banner. And then they go outside. They find the white Martians in the test tubes, which break out, and
they're more primal, almost like they've been devolved.
Because it's worth mentioning, Barry says they look like white Martians, not that they are white Martians necessarily.
Right.
So they're close.
More animalistic.
Yeah.
So they're fighting. We got the fight with the Titans, and then this is when at the bottom of the page we see someone else is in Hawkgirl's ship. We see just the silhouette of who it is, and it was obviously there's been no hint up until this point that someone else is there. So there's not a lot of time to like process. So I didn't necessarily stop and think about who it was. I just turned the page. So I got the surprise, the full page spread of Joker with a chainsaw. By the way, very. It's very Texas Chainsaw the way he's holding
I love how unstealthy a chainsaw is.
Yeah.
Like
by
Joker,
definition,
right? As soon as you have to start it up, it makes that huge noise.
There's
a giveaway.
nothing subtle about the Joker though, Connor.
No.
So,
Well, there is up until the chainsaw. He's there. He's hidden. He's shushing. He's quiet.
Well, yeah, but I think that's kind of the point. Is he wants it to be terrifying because she's going to be shocked as soon as she hears it.
She's gonna get him with the wings. Like, he don't know what he's up against.
Question is, can those wings, those new wings, take a chainsaw?
I don't see why they couldn't. They're a certain kind of metal.
I would go for it. Yeah, we'll see some chainsaw action. Here's my question though: how did he get in that ship?
We'll find out. Because
he had to sneak on right before it shrunk. Like that has to be what happened.
Yep.
So, very interesting to see how that plays out. And then meanwhile, Cyborg and Jon Stewart are trying to they're at the old watchtower, what's left of it, trying to triangulate signals and look into the Umbrix and all that. When Sinestro shows up, supporting the ultraviolet light, and he went to actually sort of take care of it, but he'd already left, and he tracked it here. So basically, it's been attracted towards Earth. So their big final cliffhanger is that all of these invisible ultraviolet planets are all surrounding Earth. And we're here, so it's a great big page as well. It's really kind of surreal.
It's a gorgeous page with all the purple.
Yeah.
It reminded me from the Transformers Unicron. When Unicron just shows up.
I didn't see that.
You're like, oh man, we're boned.
Yeah,
but we'll see. But I like what it did with the story where it progressed. Like the Stealth Force had to be uncovered first before the rest of these would appear. So it's like one leads to the other. And I almost look at that, and this is probably me doing way too much digging, kind of like how Flash was one of the first of these, the Silver Age heroes to appear, and they went from magic to science-based, and Barry was the first of that, and then Hal. So now we get the Steel Force, and then we get the Ultraviolet Core. I just think it's kind of smart even if it happened by accident.
Maybe the reverse. We get these, which are almost a bit more sciencey.
Yeah.
All those characters.
And we get more magic as we go.
We move into magic, especially with Wonder Woman going to dark and getting involved in that magic side of things.
One of them's going to be full on magic. Maybe a couple, but definitely one of them will be. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I reading this and going back to the orders we're talking about that stuck out to me. Like.
Yeah. Worth knowing they did address the moon again. They're like,
moon's not there.
I think Snyder tweeted that an issue, maybe 5, will be dealing with the moon problem.
Yeah, I like that they brought up Geoforce.
Yeah, because there's a line about, we've got something to temporarily take care of the waves and shit. Whilst until we actually build a new moon or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not going to last long enough.
Yeah, they're not a ticking clock, but they're acknowledging that yes, the Earth would be affected by the moon suddenly not being there, as it would be. Really important. I think I want to. I really like this show a lot. I think it's. I love that it splits into 3, and we have John and Cyborg together doing one thing. We got Wonder Woman, Flash, and Aquaman doing another thing. We got Superman and Martian Manhunter with the other 2 in their bodies in the totality. None of it feels like. I think it's neatly built up enough that they set up one. They focused on just the totality last issue. That this issue, I feel like really good about the 3 plots going on. None of them feel like rushed. I feel like I understand all of them. My only complaint would be that there's so many concepts of Umbrax and this and that, and
he's throwing them at you fast.
Yeah,
expecting you to
go. I'll criticize that, but the art's really good, and I think I'll say that I love that Justice League feels like an important book. That it feels like an event constantly going on. And this issue didn't dampen that in any way.
So when he started on Batman, there was always that vibe, like he was taking some inspiration from the animated series, and I feel that's true here too. This feels kind of like a darker version of the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think we've known that since we saw the lineup.
Yeah. But I just mean like here with even the storytelling, how the Justice League show early on would break them up into different squads. And here we're getting that too.
And I think it's interesting that we know the next arc is going to be Aquaman focused. We've just introduced a part of the ocean that he thought was, you couldn't go to. He thought it was, so I think that's interesting. It would maybe suggest that the next force that appears is something to relate to Aquaman in some way. So looking forward to that. So we'll see. But no, really good. So we'll rate the book. Matt, what would you give Justice League number 3?
That's an 8. The art's solid, the story's there, but like you said, him throwing all these new things at you, it's hard to keep it straight.
It's funny because that's my main critique. But honestly, I'm going to go straight to a 9. I really. This feels exciting to read every week. I read it again, and so far Snyder's not gotten too wordy for his own good. Everything's flowing quite well. So no, I have to get some props. Connor.
I'm going with the 8 because there's just once too many times with the art where the face is bothering, especially Martian Manhunter. The page just before the double page spread where they see all the big titans. His face, it looks like he's grinning.
Do you know, I know exactly the panel you mean because it stuck out to me as well. I agree with it. I agree with that one. It's a couple
of panels before that as well where he's just got this grin on his face and it doesn't make any sense to me.
That's fair. Whenever Connor complains, he always sounds really upset about it.
Yeah.
He always sounds like it's really bothering him what he's complaining about.
Well, they do bother me.
He looks offended that it's wrong. It should be fixed. I agree. I agree with the complaint. Although I don't think it's as big a deal.
It's not. I think it was worse in the last issue with those moments. I think there was more of them, but there was just a couple too many that stopped me going higher than an 8.
Well, we're not done with big stuff yet. We actually have the start of a new run this week as well. Another big issue, Green Lantern's number 50. Dan Jurgens writing, Mike Perkins on the art. It was oversized as well. It was about 10 extra pages. So we're going to talk about this. I think what struck me about this was right away is that it feels less like just Simon and Jess now, and more like it's, at least for this arc, it's going to be a lot more of the Lanterns. Kilowog's in here, Guy's there, Kyle's there, John's there.
Definitely. It's worth noting that immediately this is set after Hal Jordan Green Lantern Corps 50. So this feels like, okay, that's going away at least for a month or two before they replace that. We know that. Then okay, so this is filling the slot as the general Green Lantern book.
Yeah,
I think.
My only downside to that is I liked the spotlight being on Jess and Simon a bit more because they were newer. So we'll see how it shapes up once the other book starts and what that is. I can almost see it being a Hal book, and then this will be the everyone else book.
Core.
Yeah. But I did like the issue quite a bit. I'm into the plot they're building. The idea that the rings are disobeying the Lanterns and something's corrupting them is a really fun idea. And except maybe Jesse's ring, because Jesse's ring is like, hey, you can't trust anyone, Jess. Seriously.
Right.
Like they're compromised.
So, man, the more I read of Jurgens, the more I appreciate him, because I feel like he's this unsung writer at DC. He's been around forever, and when you think about it, he doesn't whiff that often. And the fact that he was picking up on stuff that he wrote, because we get the what's his name from the action arc, who tried to kill Luthor.
God, I know you're on about the.
Yeah. I can't remember his name. I know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna pull it up.
Because he agreed not to eventually. Is the point?
Right. But I'm gonna find him.
Slayer
there you go.
The fact that he's brought in, and we saw what he did to Superman and Lex, and you're instantly know you're in for trouble. That whatever did this messed him up big time. I like that, and even if you haven't read that arc, right? If you're just a Lantern reader,
it works.
Here it sets the stakes as well. So
because John finds this derelict ship and his ring's like, oh, there's something coming, but we can handle whatever it is. And then it's like an entire fleet of almost Battlestar Galactica looking ships.
It's a gorgeous page when they all.
It's fantastic. And John's like, oh yeah, sure, manageable. Yeah, that was the word I'd use. But I'll handle it. So we get this mysterious new villain. The book even starts with one of the Guardians who's like, oh no, he is coming. Him. He references he knows who this big bad is that's coming. And I actually love because John's like, okay, this is worse than I thought. Ring, tell the court to send in reserves or whatever. And the ring says, Lantern Stewart reports threat resolved, status secure. And I'm like, oh no, what's happening here? And my favorite, possibly my favorite moment of the entire book actually, is later on when we come back to John, and he's fighting again for a while, and he's like, "Damn it, Ring! You know, call the Guardians, call the Corps," and it's just in the one panel below it just says no.
I like that before that as well, though. It tries to justify itself. It's like, oh, sorry, misunderstanding. I sent the wrong signal. I thought you were referring to the other signal that we were fine.
Yeah, but I love the Rings being defiant. So yeah, the call shows up in front of Guy and Kilowog, so they go out looking for John. They find him beaten to death. Like, John's got like enough energy just to like give himself a gas mask, just to be alive.
Yeah.
So they have to protect him. Kyle comes to get Simon and Jess on Earth.
And they're at a club, which I love. As soon as it opened, I was like, Jess wouldn't go to a club, and then the dialogue is about
first thing
how
they say.
This is something new to her. And I was like, okay, Jurgans, you got me.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
We're good.
Given that we were complaining those last 2 issues that Jess and her anxiety just felt out of place.
Oh yeah, that's just
what they were doing.
Let's just wipe that 2-part fill in from the record.
Yeah, but I think it's funny because that was the most recent thing we'd read with Jess, and so we go in expecting like, okay, that's in your mind as soon as you get to this scene, and then it's like, oh, never mind, forget all about that, we got it right.
Yeah, so the Guardians are freaking out. They want to find Hal. Hal's not around. So they're going to try and contact him. But they're like, okay, get Raynor and the others here. And basically they get to Mogo. Oh, by the way, I love I'm flicking through the book as I talk about it. John's like armor that he gives himself at one point is pretty cool.
Yep.
The green armor. But they get to Mogo and there's basically a giant storm and like it's getting worse and worse. And like, why is this happening? This has never happened before. This is dangerous. And the lanterns that are there are struggling to deal with it.
I did like that Jess gave herself a little umbrella, and all the blokes just powered on through.
That's very true to life.
It is.
It's always very true to life.
It's always the women with the umbrellas in the bag, isn't it?
Yeah. Unless you go back to like the 50s and it was very gentlemanly to have like have an umbrella.
Well, even then here it doesn't rain that often, but when it does, my wife has an umbrella in her car. Me, I just put my jacket up higher.
If I've got a hood or a hat. If not, it's like, well, screw it. I guess I'm getting wet.
Yeah, I'll cope. It's fine.
But also, like you guys were talking about all the other lanterns that pop up.
Mm-hmm.
You get Princess Iolandi.
Yep.
She's here, and she's like, well, something's going on my planet. I need to be here. I need to be there, not here. And, and then you get Sornek in another panel. Like, it definitely feels like...
And it feels...
It's worth noting she's a queen now, not princess.
Yeah, yep.
And it
feels that's right. She is queen.
And it feels really big as well, because then buildings start falling down on Mogo. And, like, we have, like, Kyle try to hold it up as Jess goes in to try and evacuate whoever's inside. That's how we end the book, because she finds... And I love the panel in the second last page at the bottom because Jesse's face is in such shadow. Because I think the art's pretty good overall. I think there's some faces here or there that are a little bit off.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an acquired taste because there are parts of it that are just like, oh man. But there's other stuff like you guys said, like the ships.
I like
coming through.
Yeah, I think the ships are really good. I like the shadows, the inks, the coloring. I like a lot. I just think the actual line work at times for the faces is a bit.
It's funny because are you praising this panel here with the face and the shadows?
Yeah, I like this panel.
See, I think I don't think it's that good, and I think the shadows are actually trying to hide the problems in the face. To me, I
don't think so.
It looks like it's covering it up to me.
No, because you look at the next page and it's very shadowy as well. It's really playing with the blacks. So
no, it is, but the way it covers us there, and I'm like, because I didn't think it was that strong, and then I'm looking at it, it looks like they're trying to cover some of it up, so it doesn't seem.
No, I liked it.
I
like
this panel. Yeah.
Next page.
I
like the last one a whole lot.
Actually, do you know what I like about that panel a lot? Actually, is the shading on her symbol around the eye. I really like the gradual gradient on that.
I think faces are definitely the weak point of this art, but architecture and ships look phenomenal.
Yeah, I think I'll be quite into this art if it keeps with this with Perkins. I think I'll be into it overall, even if there's a couple of spotty elements here or there, but I think its strengths are working for what Green Lantern is a lot of the time. So
well, and the greens really pop like on Simon's uniform.
Yeah,
like his design and on his face, the green really pops. And then you look over at Jess, and hers is more green than his. So but you find that Simon's with the Conasol.
The Guardian who was at the start of this show, and he's got a big bit of rock or metal, whatever, like sticking right through him.
Yep.
and he's been murdered. And Simon just says he's dead, but then Jesse's ring's like, no, he's been murdered. You can't trust him. You can't trust him. Just don't trust Baz.
Well, because it says scanning for 2 forms of life, the page before, and it says correction 1. So it almost makes it sound like maybe, Simon could have murdered him if he was trying to save him and the ring disobeyed.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is, Pete, the start you said, Jess's ring seems to be, it might be okay.
Or maybe the opposite.
I thought the opposite. I was like, is this a sign that it's trying to pit her against them?
Kind of what I'm reading it as right now, and you could be right. It could be like her ring's also screwed, and maybe because of its personality and attitude, it's doing it in a different way where it's trying to convince her to be bad, but without her knowing it. It could be that. Absolutely could be. I was also wondering though if it can detect that the other rings are corrupted, and the ring doesn't understand that the people on the rings are separate. It's like it's saying you can't trust him. It's not, but no, she can trust Simon. It's Simon's ring that might be the concern.
No, that's fair. I think I'm okay with either option. Like I said, I think you can read it as both ways at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm okay with either, so I'm looking forward to either.
I know it'll be fun though, because this idea that the rings can't be trusted is a really fun idea for a Lantern story.
It is.
Yep. And it balances the space cop stuff with the space opera stuff. I mean, you have this new villain group called the Eon, and they talk in wheeze like they're this hive mind.
Yeah.
That's what was attacking John. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, but Jurgans, man, he surprises me every time he jumps to something new. Like, whether it was Batman Beyond or, Green Lanterns, we knew he could already Superman. So that wasn't a surprise. But
I'm into it. Good. This is a promising start to the run.
Yeah.
So no, it's good stuff. So we'll rate it. Matt, what would you give it?
So because of spotty art and some of the story stuff, I thought the story was stronger than the art. Here, this is 7.5.
All right, Connor.
I was really into this, so I get an 8.5.
I think I might go with 8.5 as well. I think I'm going to side with that. I mean, I agree with it. Obviously, we mentioned the art, and that's where maybe some of the pitfalls are. But I'm really into the story. I think, I always joke that I don't like Guy that much. I think Guy's fine. He's my least favorite. None of the every character was fun to come to. There was there wasn't like one scene where I cut to it and went, oh, not them again. Like I was into
it. Him and Kilowog together. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, oh hell, Jess and Kyle, the two best Lanterns together, best thing ever. So that's Green Lantern's number 50. So this is the start of a new big run. Hopefully, it's a big run. But Jurgens off to a strong start. So we'll move on. to Nightwing 46. Benjamin Percy writing, Christopher Mooneyham on the art. So we're coming back into the Phantasm boxes that are taking over, and now these virtual enemies that are appearing in front of Dick, like they're virtual but they can hurt him because he's like hardwired into it. And he actually jumps out the window and he civvies because he's trying to get away from it. And luckily, because he called Babs looked into this tech stuff and was concerned enough that she came by and catches him. So we get Dick and Babs sort of working as a team this issue, which I'm always a fan of. I'm always going to be down for it.
So we all know I haven't been big on Mooneyham's art, but this I feel like he's finally found his legs. Where it strikes the balance between the super blocky.
I mean, I think it's worth noting we do have some different artists in the middle for a few pages.
Let me see.
I thought that really stood out. Just after the title page, for maybe like 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah, we do.
I thought the Batgirl from this artist is so much nicer. It's a bit more rounded, and as soon as we cut back to Mooneyham's Batgirl, the lips are just so ugly.
That doesn't bother me.
There's the page, a couple of pages after that when they're just inside the base, and Dick's got his hand out. It's the second panel down on that page. I don't know what's going on with her mouth.
She's shocked. It's fine.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like shock. Her eyes look like shock. Her mouth just looks alien.
Oh, Matt, it's not the best mouth.
That page is bad. So wait, who did the art where he puts in his code as Robin? Is that the other artist?
Let me have a look. Yeah, that's the other artist.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, okay. Well, I thought that was Mooneyham because I can't count very well.
It was the other artist you were praising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of it. So No, I did have a lot of fun with this issue. Do you know what? This is going to sound strange. So, Dick has like a base, like a cave essentially inside the city, and he's got that thing where his password is Robin, and Babs gives him shit for it. And we find out that, you know, all these phantasm things have been put in the city streetlights, so it's everywhere. And Dick's infected. I love when it's crawling inside his cheek, and she's like, "Okay, stay still, Dick." And she's like, "I'm going to punch it."
His friends just punch him in the face all the time.
It's great.
Whether it's Dick or Babs, or Bruce or Babs.
It really cracked me up.
They're always punching him out.
So here's a weird thing I'm going to say that I don't think I was expecting to say after this issue. If they want to keep him permanently with this metal visor instead of his old mask, I'm okay with it. It fits. I think it totally fits Nightwing.
No.
It looks cool.
I don't like it.
It looks cool.
It looks awful.
No, it looks great. I'm into it. This is like so 80s. I love it.
Is your favorite Star Trek character Geordi LaForge?
No.
That's what you're telling me about you liking this visor.
This visor is great. Him with the big sort of almost cyberpunk visor with the rest of the suit is great. I'm into it.
You also think Kyle's mask looks good. That's the worst
it does.
thing about his costume.
Your opinion on masks is just invalid.
Nah.
No. That's great. I love it. So, basically, they're like, okay, so whoever's behind this is doing all this stuff, and the entire city's a danger to them now. But then we have another victim, the mayor, who's now resigned because this like leaked footage of him in some sort of weird kinky sex act.
Blue Haven cannot keep a mayor.
No, they
like,
cannot.
Every time.
It's a judge, wasn't it?
Man.
What's that?
Huh?
It's a judge, not a mayor, wasn't it?
No, because there's like a fill-in mayor who fills in for him later.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe I was. Yeah, the news headline talks about, is it local judge?
Judge Matterhorn. There's definitely a replacement mayor. Did the mayor already die? Maybe that's what it was.
It must have
Yeah,
done.
that's what it was.
Yeah, because later on the guy's giving the speech and he's like, "Oh, I'm your fill-in mayor," and yeah, and it turns out the guy that Dick's been training, you know, with the cyber eye, is like behind this tech. He's behind all of it.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm ready to jump to him being the villain yet, though. I feel like there's going to be more to it than just he's the bad guy.
Yeah, no, he's bankrolling it, but not knowing. You know? Like, that's how I'm going to take it.
Because I actually, where the art, which I know I agree that the faces aren't amazing. Like it's a very pulpy 90s style, but I think it kind of works for what he's doing with the story. But some of the stuff that I love is when the virtual buildings come in. Like when they turn on the virtual buildings and that panel of Dick looking around. Again, that visor's kind of cool. I'm into it. So, Babs is undercover. She's with the press. All this is going on, and he sees them. So, I mean, that's basically the issue. Is that they're starting a big thing at the end, and these mobsters show up at the end because they're not happy that their city's being changed. As Dick is finding do you remember the Westworld hosts without the skin?
Yeah, the new hosts, the new ones from season 2.
Yeah, the big white ones. Yeah,
they do look like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're called the Terminals, and they're the ones that are they're at least the foot soldiers who are doing all the work for the bad guy, setting things up and whatnot. But no, I'm actually really into how pulpy this is. I can't argue with most of the criticisms, but for me,
I like the story in this was stronger than it has been. I like, you know, the back and forth between Dick and Babs. That's
I'm a little torn because I think their back and forth is pretty strong. Yeah, I know.
I'm okay with it. Thunk's a good word.
I couldn't decide between thought or if I think, and it came out wrong. But I like their back and forth well enough. I don't know. We seem to be playing up the technophobe angle even more by highlighting it by having Babs around, and I'm not really feeling that.
I've made my peace with it. It's fine. Whatever. I just think can ignore it. It's fine.
It's hard to ignore when that's the central focus of the issue.
It's not the central focus. It's there for the first page. She cracks some jokes about him not having proper passwords, and that's kind of it.
I don't know. The whole arc is clearly about this technology taking over lives. This is literally the whole point of this story.
Yeah, but Percy did that also with Green Arrow, and
he did. But I think
he got out of his system. Well, yeah. I mean, I think Ollie's a better character to do that with because he is Mr. Tech Guy.
I It just doesn't bother me. It's whatever. It's like a weird, quirky thing that I into the character for this story. But everything with Babs here was great. The actual tech plot of like the virtual things taking over the city, and then it's led to him having this badass visor that protects him from telling what reality and physical world is.
That's your true love. We always thought you loved Dick, but you love Visor.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know. As soon as I saw him with that visor, I went, you know what? That's kind of suiting him.
It's really not.
It absolutely is. People tell them that these two are wrong. Tell them that this visor's a great fit for Dick.
We'll just end up with the technology in his lenses and his usual mask, and then job's a good one.
Nah, visor.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk visor.
Just right.
Do it. Matt, do you want to rate the book? What did you rate Nightwing?
Yeah. So yeah, man. There's some strong art, but it wasn't the same artist that I thought it was. So that knocked down some points on my end. So no, this is a 7. The story picked back up, and yeah.
Cool. Carter.
I give it a 6.5. It wasn't working for me as much as the last few.
All right, okay. Actually, it's the most out of the 3 issues, so I'm going with an 8. I'm going as high as an 8.
Mm.
I'm digging it. It's flowing for me.
Visor Dick makes him feel things.
All right, okay. Enough talking about Dick.
I just want to say, when we get new buttons eventually, what we need is just a visor to go over Pete's eyes. Yeah, that's all we need. I
don't actually have the button set up because for all those at home, you'll notice that the visuals, if you're watching the video, are a little bit updated with some Twitters have been added and stuff. But I'm on a new version of the software that I use, and I've not put all the buttons in yet. So there's no buttons this week, unfortunately. They'll be back.
I mean, I thought you would have liked Ready Player One if you loved visors that much more. Like, that whole movie is visors.
No, that movie is clunky VR headsets and a plot that is not justified. But anyway, regardless.
Wait a minute. But isn't that what Dick's using the visor for? Is like his
No. This is like a sheet of metal over his face. This is not a big clunky VR headset. There's a difference.
Well, ones in Ready Player One aren't that clunky.
They're clunky enough. Those don't look cyberpunk. Those look just a bit of tech that you buy. This looks cyberpunky.
I disagree. This looks cyberpunk. There's not nearly enough gears to be cyberpunk.
It just looks
Wait,
like
that's
it looks
steampunk.
That's
like
steampunk, Matt. Yeah.
My brain's not. God. Let's just keep going.
All right, we'll move on. We'll move on. Everyone rated that, right? Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to Green Arrow number 42. Mairghread Scott writing Matthew Clark. This is the second part of the 2-part fill-in. Obviously, the Benson's not even on next month. The Benson's start in August, so we're still getting our fill-in next month. It's weird how they split that up so much. There's so much time before we got there. But so we actually quite liked the first half of this. This was the parasite needs to be transported, and Oliver, because he doesn't have powers, is tasked with this. And he breaks out, of course, in the first part of this, and he's killed a bunch of criminals, taken their powers, and Oliver. This is basically the issue of Oliver trying to track him and take him back in, and that's basically what it is. There's like no real surprises in the plot. It's just kind of fun to read, and there's like some fun action.
Yeah.
And
so I realized in this issue it wasn't traditional Parasite. It was the New 52 version of him. So I thought that was a nice little touch because it's not the Rudy Jones version that's like been driven mad. This guy's a little bit more sympathetic because he got his powers. I had to do a little research this morning. Yeah, he got his powers trying to help Superman.
No.
Of course, Matt did research.
Yes, we'll save you audience before his mic starts killing your ears.
But yeah, so he got his powers saving Superman. So, and he's kind of just a victim of circumstances. So when you see like the prison treating him bad because they have no other choice, I thought that's perfect for a Green Arrow story.
Yeah, because it becomes this story about how he's actually being like victimized and mistreated, and Oliver actually does feel bad for him, but he has to break. He's too dangerous to let out. But it's like, okay, we'll try and maybe give him a window or something, give him like a toilet and a TV perhaps, like just some little nice things to make his life not completely and utterly miserable.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I did some cool stuff with the art panels. Like, there's one that was shaped like an arrow. They do the Target stuff again. Yeah. I don't think it was as strong as in the first issue, but
yeah, there's a lot of it. What they do is instead of just having the straight boxes, they're just all slightly slanted to give it this impression of as if they're slightly tilted forward or back.
It's just a little angular, isn't it?
Yeah, just to make it have a bit of flow to it. Yeah,
I think my favorite part of the book was definitely where You know, he's oh no, he's angry. You know, I can use rage. It's predictable. I know exactly what's going to happen. And then he says something, and he changes to fear, and he's like, oh, that's not good, because it's unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do next.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it. Obviously, he gives the warden some shit. He's not happy about it, and he leaves off. And that's the book. It's very simple. There wasn't a whole lot to it, but it was an enjoyable read. The art was nice. I'm feeling pretty confident about Batgirl now with Scott coming onto it, because I feel like this shows me that it's not over. Like, she's got a good sense of pacing with the narration and dialogue. It's not clunky. And she understands Oliver enough to get him right, so I'm feeling pretty confident about Batgirl.
There's always the danger that they get Oliver, but not Babs. We've seen it happen with writers before.
But there's no reason to assume that before.
There's not. No, at least now we've got some baseline to compare against.
For some quality. So I'm looking forward to Batgirl now. But that's pretty much it. So what we rate it? Yeah, well, no need to spend a ton of time on it. Matt, what would you rate it?
So this is a 7.5.
Yeah, I'll probably just give it a straight 7. I think it's good. I think it does some good stuff. Ultimately kind of forgettable, but solid read. Nothing bad to say, really. Connor.
Yeah, I'm going with the solid 7. It's exactly what it is. It's pretty good.
That'll take us out of the final book of the week, and that is Deathstroke number 33. Christopher Priest writing and Ed Bennis on the art. Bit of a confession. I slept in today and I had time for one book, and it was either that or Nightwing. I picked Nightwing, so I didn't get to Deathstroke, but I assume you both read it.
Connor?
No.
Oh.
I was running late from work. So I only had one book to read.
Yeah, so I'll do a quick hit on this one. It's the adventures of Damian and Slade as they're going around, and Slade starts to put it together that someone has tampered with this DNA sample. Like, there's no way this kid's his. The way that there's just blind loyalty from Damian, I'm not going to call him father. It's not sitting well with Slade. And
is Damian ironically being a shit?
No, he's actually just going in, and it's almost a test because he actually won't let Slade kill people. He keeps getting into the way. But he does it in a way where, no, this is how we operate. And so there's banter back and forth with them. He's like, stop calling me your dad. I'm not your dad. And whatnot. And he starts doing the whole, almost like Batman and Son, where he pledges like allegiance to him and stuff. And they go on this mission to this bike shop. And it turns out that the guy in the bike shop was like an ally of Slade's, like an asset that he uses. And someone's trying to take him out, and you get Nightshade showing up, and there's a cool fight with Robin and Slade with Nightshade. A lot of cool, with the art. Bendis does some cool things with her. It's almost Venom-esque, like with her Nightshade powers, but like it won't affect the icon suit and whatnot. But Damian ends up being able to be pulled into the Nightshade realm, and that's how they defeat her, and they end up working pretty well together.
I did see something on Twitter that I thought was interesting, given that, how we were complaining about last issue with the Dick Grayson being like, hey, if he doesn't like Dick Grayson, why is he using him?
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently that was meant to be Tim. That was Red Robin.
All right, okay.
I think that there's some dialogue in this issue. Apparently.
It comes here that you find out that's part of the scheme too, was from Tim, not from Dick. So but he leaves Damian in the Nightshade realm a little too long and starts to drive him a little mad. So when he pulls him in there, he comes out and he's kind of like, almost like Lazarus Pitted, where he's just like pure rage, and he attacks Slade. And it's during this attack that Slade kind of puts it together, what's not right. But this whole thing that they were trying to get from, that Nightshade was trying to get, it ties back to Amanda Waller. So Damian actually did a bait and switch and saved the day. And I'm getting a little tired of Priest, because he does these things with the story where he leaves these little hanging threads and then doesn't come back to them for a while. And just like Slade puts it together that now, after this interaction with Damian, he knows who's pulling this thread, and I feel like it's not going to be Batman. I feel like it is Adeline Kane. it's his wife, and I feel like it's a lesson of him being a father because he abandoned his children so often. And if anyone's a lot like Slade, if any of the kids, it's going to be Damian, because it sure wasn't Joey and it wasn't Grant. Rose has her issues. So, but yeah, him and Damian work as a team real well. But, you know,
yeah,
Slade's manipulations.
It's funny because earlier this week, I said to a couple of people, I was like, "Oh yeah, these are the books I've got this week." The only one I'm not really looking forward to is Deathstroke, and because I don't know, my interest has been dwindling on it. But I was intending on reading it. I just ran out of time. But when it became a choice of like that or like something else that I wanted to read, I was like, no,
Yeah,
the other one definitely.
I'm probably gonna stick through to the end of this, and then I'll probably end up dropping it. Just I've been trying to just keep it with Priest run because Priest will do this, and I'll get out, and then he'll do something that pulls me back in. And now I just kind of want to see where the story's gonna go, see if I'm right. And there's 2 issues left. It says there's a 2-part conclusion. So, but yeah, Slade basically surmises that the way that Batman would get him to stop operating his Deathstroke business is by embedding Damian there with him. Because Damian won't let him kill people, right? He'll just keep getting in the way. And Slade doesn't want to kill Damian. Plus, Damian's almost kind of a match for him.
That's really kind of a great idea.
Yeah, right? So, Priest leads you on this way, like, yeah, maybe Slade could be his dad, but maybe it's just the League of Assassins training, you know? Like, there's so many similarities with the way Slade operates and the way that Talia would operate, right? So, of course you'd pick him. But when Deathstroke puts it together, and he never actually believes it for a second, that Damian's his kid, there's more going on. I don't think it's Bruce that tampered with it. So, we'll see.
Yeah. What would you rate it, Matt?
The art by Bendis is really solid. I mean, Nightshade looks a little bit cheesecakey at times, but that's Bendis in a kind of a nutshell. But the action sequences look really good. Story is a little hit or miss, so this is probably a 6.5, I would say.
Well, that does bring an end to the books, so that means that we're on to picking our favourite stuff of the week. We pick our best panel/moment, we pick our best cover, our best art, and our top 5 books. We do this every single week. So, started off with best panel/moment. Matt, what you got?
So mine, it was really hard not to pick the Alfred and Bruce stuff because I love that so much. But talking over Man of Steel and the lanterns, you know, up in the Arctic for Kandor, that really hit me. So that's gonna be my moment.
Yeah, that one's pretty great. Yeah, I'm kind of a mix of what to pick here this week. There was some really big options from a few things. I think, though, I'm going to have to go with the horror option and pick Joker behind Hot Girl.
That's good, too.
And Justice League.
That's good, too.
It's just too good. Connor, what's yours?
Yeah, nothing's really immediately jumping out at me as a must pick. I think I'm going to go with the one from Justice League with Aquaman floating the silhouette as we're under sea, seeing the base.
That's pretty good.
Sorry, I'm fixing things that fell over when I tried to let the cat in, because the cat is causing chaos as usual.
Because cats are awful. We've been over this.
Anyway, right. So that's so. What did you pick, Connor? I wasn't listening.
Justice League with Aquaman.
Yeah, you know when they go underwater and use the base.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah, that was a good pick. So, best cover then of the week.
Oh, this is easy. It's the Catwoman variant.
Yeah, I can't. I can't really fight you on it.
See, I don't like Art Germ as much as you guys do, so I can't with that one. There wasn't a Middleton, I don't think, right?
No, Middleton.
I do like the Catwoman just plain one.
No, to be fair,
Jones.
Deathstroke's variant is really good this week as well.
Is it a Matino one again?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Oh, that is very nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry to pick Catwoman,
I'm sticking with Catwoman, but that is nice.
But yeah, Catwoman variant.
I'm down between the Justice League with the Jim Lee Hot Girl, because that looks
surprisingly good. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to give it to Joelle Jones for the regular Catwoman.
The regular Catwoman, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Cover.
All right, so that's cover. So we'll pick our best art of the week. Do I have a immediate pick?
I do.
You do. I mean, I think ultimately I probably have to go with Fabok and Man of Steel. I think.
Me too.
I think
it's just
Joelle would probably.
consistent.
Yeah, Joelle would probably get it if it wasn't for those first 3 or 4 pages where it was a bit rougher.
Yep. I agree with all that. Yeah, Fabok's just consistent. It's been consistent, even with all those little panels that popped up throughout the. But
that said, I will say Jimenez for Justice League is just right behind. He's not far off. So we'll just say that. Connor.
Yeah, I went into this week kind of expecting Joelle Jones, but the opening of the book's just a bit too messy. I think I'm probably going to have to go with Justice League with Jimenez. A couple of little things aside, but I feel that way with most of the art this week. And I think that's the one that has the least amount of those little problems, but it's still very good overall.
Yeah. Yeah, and I quite like Perkins on Green Lanterns, despite its flaws. I think overall there was a good mood.
It's definitely solid, but I don't think it's in contender for best.
So there you go. So top 5 books of the week. It should be interesting. So Connor, what's your top 5?
Green Lanterns, Justice League, Green Arrow, Catwoman, Nightwing.
Go, Matt.
So Man of Steel, Justice League, Catwoman, Batman, Green Lanterns.
Cool. My number 1 is Justice League. Number 2 is wait, what? My number 1 is Justice League. My number 2 is Man of Steel. My number 3 is Green Lanterns. Number 4 is Nightwing. Yeah. Then number 5 would be Batman, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm really confused right now.
It's your list.
I'm really confused. Oh, how many did I read? Where's 7? That's no Green Arrow or Deathstroke. That sounds... Oh, wait, no.
I've never seen Peter so confused by a list before.
Me neither.
Oh, look, the cat's confusing me. All right.
Oh, yeah, blame the cat.
Justice League, Man of Steel, Green Lanterns, Nightwing, Batman. Yeah, no, I was right. I'm right. Why am I doing it myself? Why do it myself?
Maybe you were like, did I prefer Green Arrow over Batman? Maybe.
No, I gave that a 7.
Okay.
Give that a 7.5. The math does not lie. My math is solid.
I like how you spent every week for the first 3 or 4 weeks we're doing this being like, sometimes the numbers might not line up with the list.
Sometimes they don't, but I'm just saying, you're disputing me there with that. I'm just, the math is there.
Just questioning as to a reason why maybe you were so hesitant.
No, I was trying to remember what else was out. I felt like I was forgetting something, but I wasn't. So it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so that's us. That's the top picks of the week. Which leaves me to tell you what's coming next week. Where's my list?
Yeah.
Here we are. So next week, week 2 of the month, we have Superman issue 1. We have Detective Comics 984. We have the Flash number 50. So that is the big supersized conclusion to Flash War. That is super exciting. We'll be having that. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 48. We have Hawkman number 2, which I'm not particularly looking forward to, but you two were into this last issue.
Oh yes, I am.
We get Mr. Miracle number 10, or did it get pushed? May have been pushed.
Yeah, it's been pushed. It's
been pushed, yeah. I'll let him have been pushed. I'll take that off. We get Plastic Man number 2, and we have Sideways number 6. On top of that, we also have... we won't. That's what we're covering next week. We also have coming out that we won't be covering Wonder Woman number 50, Immortal Men number 4, Red Hood and the Outlaws number 24, and Suicide Squad number 44. So that's...
Did you say Titans?
It's Titans next week.
Titans 23. Oh. It's the start of the...
I'm actually looking forward to that,
era.
so that's good. Titans 23.
I'll be reading that.
I'll put that in. There you go.
Yeah.
Exciting. So yeah, that's what's coming next week. So interesting week. Superman number 1 obviously being the biggie. That and Flash, I think, are the two
but
main
it's
events.
The week. That Hawkman, those two and Hawkman, it's the weekend for me.
For me, Hawkman and Plastic Man is what I'm really excited about. Weirdly.
You are a weirdo. I mean, I like Plastic Man, admittedly. I'm into Plastic Man.
Yeah, that's my make or break issue. If I'm going to keep reading, is that one.
Okay. I probably feel the same way about Hawkman, actually. I'll read issue 2 and I'll see how I feel. But issue 1 wasn't.
Stezik's doing the variant for Hawkman.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing these when they were. It was first tweeting them out.
He's fighting a dragon. I'm going to have to buy that.
Yeah,
You already know Matt's pick for cover next week. Is
Yeah.
what he's
And
saying.
most
you
likely,
go.
I mean, but there is a Hughes Superman.
Oh, isn't there a Medina Flash variant next week as well?
There is
looking.
the one with all the reverse Flash faces. I think
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
you'll know what I mean when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, there's big options next week for best cover. A lot of biggies. So that's what's coming next week. It is a Doomsday Clock month, which does mean that Connor's going to be missing that week.
Wait, what week is it?
It's not next week. But Connor actually is missing next week's show. He's got a thing.
I'm about to do the Hawkman fight by myself.
Yeah. So Connor's missing next week. Luckily, that's Superman issue 1, which he won't be reading. So I mean, it's actually probably the best week for him to miss. But we have Doomsday Clock on the 18th, because I think that was the one that was delayed from the final week of May, or sorry, the final week of June. I'm confused.
June.
Yeah. Anyway, regardless, it's on the third week this month is Doomsday Clock. Apparently.
That's fine by me. I should be here.
We'll see. We'll see.
That's the cover with the lantern, right?
No, that's issue 7.
No, that's like 7.
No, it's
Yeah.
7. Okay.
That's a few away, Matt.
Crap.
That's the one that was just solicited.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still excited, but I'm just a little less excited. It's not that one.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have something fun, Matt. I'm sure. But issue 6 is coming up. So yeah, that's what's coming next week. And that brings it end to the show, more or less. That's us done. So as always, let us know what you thought of the books this week in the comments or on the Twitters. All the Twitters are on the screen, but for the audio people, we should tell people what they are. Matt, where can people find you?
At Man of Steel 57.
Connor.
I just want to say I really appreciate that this is on the screen. I could just read it and I don't have to think about it because it's kind of around 94.
Yes, the year of your birth and your name, so hard to remember.
Look, I just someone asked me how old I was today, and it took me about a minute to work it out. I didn't know. I had to go. Right, I was born in '94. It's 2018.
Oh my god.
You can get me on Twitter at Wibble89. You can get the comics podcast as a whole on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. Of course, we do recommend you go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV because over there you can get some bonuses. You can support the show and the channel and everything we do and keep us going, make it feasible to get all these ridiculous number of comics that we need to get, and amongst other things. But if you want to support us other ways, that's cool too, by liking, subscribing, watching the ads on YouTube, whatever else. All of it does help. And if you're actually, again, like we said at the start, we had tech issues whilst recording the monthly, so the June monthly still you got for patrons, that's coming fairly soon, and then you'll get July's as well later in the month. In fact, we can tell you what July's is going to be. We can announce that right now. It'll be nice. Me and Connor are going to talk about JLA the Nail. Later in the month. Yeah. So that's coming up later in the month. The June monthly, which we've recorded some of and then had tech issues, is the books 1 and 2 of the Dark Prince Charming, the Batman book. Yeah. So that's coming fairly soon as well. So
as soon as possible, yeah.
As soon as possible, which I think means Monday night when we record it, but I don't know. We'll see if we can squeeze it in tonight. I don't think so, though. But that is coming soon, so look forward to that. If you're a Patreon, if you're not a Patreon, go and check out the Patreon and see if there's anything there you want. If you want to be nice and just chip in $1, that's cool. But that is us. That is the show. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, I like to promote one other thing. Matt.
Yeah.
You can pick something from Male Fuzz TV to promote. Promote it.
Oh yeah, we're watching Glow season 2. So,
oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
Check that out.
Yeah, episode 1's up. Episode 1 review's up, and we're recording episode 2 tomorrow, I believe. So
yeah, most likely.
Yeah, so yeah, I can look forward to that. If you're at Glow, we're going to be working our way through that slowly. You can check it out. That's me and Matt doing that because Connor didn't want to watch it because it's wrestling related, but me and Matt are doing it. So it's good stuff. But yeah, so that is us. That is the show. That is episode 111. Mm-hmm. So as always, thank you very much for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
It's coming home.